Did you miss us? What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, a podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Antony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey. It is a Wednesday evening, which can only mean one thing. Yes, it is time for the college football podcast, The Edge of Glory. It is the season 5 premiere for the 5th year in a row. We are going to be diving deep into the world of everything CFB related. And I've just got one question here for you, Ryan. You ready to go back to college?
I am, yeah, because I'm bored. Football season's finished. The NFL is in that I hate this period. So I'm very much ready. Like I said, the CFL is just beginning. Like I said, the UFL is just about to enter the glory stage and college football's just about to start. So getting back in the steam of things.
Yeah, this is. I know we like the draft. The draft's the fun part where you get to see all your work come to fruition, but there's just this childlike wonderment at the start of the season where you've got new players, new teams, new coaches. You've got a whole new world to go out there and explore, and names that you don't know yet that this time of the year you'll think you'd known for a lifetime. But yes, they say we are back, and this is the 5th season. We are going to be covering everything college football. We're glad to have everyone in with us here this evening. Hope that you are all well. And of course, we are about 11 weeks away from the season now, so we got about the best part of 3 months to go. We have lots of summer to chat everything college football, everything that's been going on whilst we've not been here, all the stories that have been happening. There's stuff all over the place, so we will get round to it all in due course. As for today, got a few different topics on the docket today. We're going to go through a tiny little bit of news first. We'll do more news in episodes as we go by, but I thought we'd start with some fun things this week. So we're going to be taking a look at the new head coaches in the FBS this year. There's 30 teams all told that are coming into this season with a new head coach. We're going to quickly list them down and where these guys have come from and what they're all about. And me and Ryan have picked a few each of teams where we're intrigued by the hire. We like the fit between head coach, we like the fit with the team, and we're interested to see what's going on. We're going to shine a light on some of those programs there and give you some teams to watch out for this year. We are going to be taking a look at potentially some of the best edge rushing duos coming into college football in the 2025 season. This all stems back to a polite disagreement with my good friend Brent DeWitt, who seemed to take offense when I said the Michigan edge rushing duo was not as good as Clemson's this year, and he wanted us to explore that in greater detail. So I thought, well, let's go one further. Let's look at edge rushing duos that we're interested in across college football this year. And I've done a ranking of my top 5 groups when some others will look at as well. So we're going to take a look at that. And, you know, as the Lions never seem like they're going to draft one, maybe we might see one of these guys next year. And then we're going to take a look at our playoff dark horses for this upcoming year. Obviously, there is a long time to go yet. 3 months to the season, a lot can change. You know, players can get hurt, players can look good, all this sort of stuff. But we're going to pick out some teams who, tentatively at this moment in time, we're looking towards potentially doing good things this season, especially with the expanded playoffs. There are more opportunities. There are, you know, greater chances to make an impact in the game now with all these opportunities available. So we're going to shine love on the teams we think will do well there. Shout out to everyone who's in the building. Brent DeWitt is in the building, of course, he always is. Hope you are doing well there, Brent. Coach Paston is in the building. Hope you're doing well. Brent goes, the bottom ticker is hilarious. Great job. Thank you. I did those for today. I do like to put some things on there. So yeah, appreciate all my little messages on the bottom of the ticker there. And again, as you always know with the podcast, as we're going along, if you want to ask us questions, you've got anything you want us to discuss, then just whack it in there. And if we can do it this week, we will. If not, we'll put it towards the next show. I'll make sure we dive down onto Twitch as well. So if you're on Twitch as well, hang on and I will get to your messages there as well. Let's just get all the housekeeping out of the way and then we'll get this show on the road. So Roar of the Lions UK Discord, if you want in on that, let us know. We will fire you across a link for that there. Main podcast, OTAs started last week. The guys had a little look back at what's been going on at OTAs, and of course the very sad news that Frank Ragnow has retired. Just go and check out Matt and Ash's reaction to that if you haven't already. Sad day for us all. Don't forget to like and sub to everything: Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff. We really appreciate the followings from you all. We're a part of Lions Nation Unite as well, Herman Moore's project, to bring together a whole host of Lions content creators into one forum to talk anything and everything Lions. So give that a follow as well. We're affiliated on Twitch, monetized on YouTube. We've got a tip jar, all that good stuff. So if you want to help us that way, great. But first and foremost, we always just love having you in the building to chat, ball, and we got the feedback form as well. So any feedback on the shows, do use it. We do take notice of it. Right. But why doesn't it say go Army beat Navy? Because Brent, we all know it's the opposite. We want Navy to win. And if you look at the the AAC predicted win totals this year, Navy are predicted to win more games than Army. So we'll see. You need to unupset the odds there. Right, let's move on for now. So just going to dive down into a little bit of news. Well, let's say news. Conference realignment. We're always talking about conference realignment. There are new teams coming, teams are changing, all that good sort of stuff. I just wanted to quickly go through the realignment issues regarding this year and next year, just so that you know where the state of play is, where everybody's at. There is no confusion in the building. There's not as much realignment this year, so it is not too bad. Just going to very quickly go through it though. So we've got two new teams in the FBS this year. We're up to 136 teams now, I believe. They're both going to the CUSA. So we have the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens. They've moved from the Coastal Athletic Association in the FCS to the CUSA. And we got the Missouri State Bears coming from the Missouri Valley Football Conference in the FCS to the CUSA as well. We've got one team transfer. So the UMass Minutemen, they've been independents for the last few years. They have gone back to their old home in the MAC, the Mid-Atlantic Conference. So the MAC has one new member this year. Right, we've seen these FCS teams coming up in recent years. We've seen Jacksonville State had their first title last year. Sam Houston bedding their way in. Kennesaw State moving into year two now. We've got two new ones arriving on the blocks: Delaware and Missouri State.
Yep. It's interesting that we're seeing an influx despite the entrance fee going up by like 1,000%. I don't know if that was done to just purely cash in on them. Was it done to try put them off? Was it? I'm not sure why the fee was increased, but whatever effect it had, it's either not worked at all or it's worked perfectly and they're cashing in on it. But yeah, it's not putting teams off. We've seen a flurry of teams that a lot of them, like say by FCS standards, wouldn't even consider themselves in a big fish in a small pond. They just said, screw it. Why not? Let's have a chance. Let's see if we can make our name for ourselves. Because I think a lot of them look at the group of five conferences, some of the weaker ones, and probably think, do you know what? We might be able to hold our own in there pretty quickly. And we've seen in recent years that, well, it's pretty true. A lot of them have come in their first year and at least been competitive. And then in second and third year, some of them, like say JMU, Liberty, after like a year or two, have gone on to be very competitive and have made a bit of a name for themselves on the national stage. So I'm all for it. I won't look at anyone. I won't begrudge anyone moving up if you've got the money. Like I say, if you think you've got the facilities and you've got a stable coaching staff in there, a soil player call, then I'm all for it. Like I say, it's going to be very interesting. We're getting to the stage where now, like say, conferences are getting too big, they're spilling out. We're going to probably see some more conferences created soon. We were just split into divisions, so I think the landscape's going to change very soon. But yeah, it's very interesting right now. The two teams that are coming up weren't prolific household. Well, not to me anyway, not prolific household names at the FCS level. Had good seasons. So for me, that's quite exciting. Two unknown entities makes it difficult to game plan for them as well. You're just going to have to watch tape, but really you're not going to know what to expect from them. And yeah, I suppose really they've got no expectations. The bar, yeah, it's a free hit for them. I mean, it's a $5 million hit, but it's a free hit for them to come in and just, like you say, cause a few upsets. And yeah, they could scoop up a lot of the players in the portals that drop out of the Power Four. Like I said, they'll be looking to make themselves one of those kind of premier destinations for those kind of guys.
Yep, the CUSA is Wild West land this year. A lot of former FCS programs in there. Go make a name for yourself. So yeah, we've got the two new teams in. We've got the Minutemen going to the MAC. And then in terms of future transfers, we've got 9 teams with future transfers arranged. So in 2026, next year, the pack is back. It is getting reformed. So we've got 5 teams leaving the Mountain West. 6, sorry, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and Utah State. Sorry, it was 5. They're all going from the Mountain West to the new pack. Obviously, Oregon State and Washington State will revert from their independent status, which they've had the last few years since the pack fell. They'll be going back to the pack as well. So that's your 7 teams going into the pack for next year. Probably be more by the time we get there. And then you've got 2 teams heading to the Mountain West. So Northern Illinois are leaving the MAC after this season, going to the Mountain West. And UTEP, the University of Texas El Paso, they're leaving the CUSA after this year. They are heading to the Mountain West as well. As it stands, no more teams are currently slated for FCS to FBS transition. However, Sacramento State, they are in the process of applying. That is expected to be announced sooner rather than later. They're expected to be an FBS independent to start with before more than likely going to the pack there. But, it
No
doesn't seem.
coincidence that the college football playoffs have expanded once, are on the verge of expanding again, and everyone's scrambling for the best way to get in. Like say, the Mountain West, they've got a good rep out of G5 teams. So going there and winning there, or like winning it, gives you a good shot at getting one of those guaranteed berths. And also reforming a Pac-12, maybe being the inaugural Pac-12 2.0 champion, probably gives you a chance to get in there. So I imagine, let's say, with 2026 on the horizon, like say, and then the playoffs shifting again, the takeaway of auto bids, maybe some getting more. I think you could see some big teams actually decide to move conferences purely for the well, we've heard like say teams getting 2, 3 automatic bids or like guaranteed spots in the playoffs. You can see some really big teams try to make the plunge and move across decisions, and that usually ends in lawsuits. It's going to get ugly, I think, when some try to like say go work out. But right now, it's getting harder and harder to be an independent. And a lot, the onus for me in the next 12 to 24 months is Notre Dame. I know we just saw him in a great playoff run now, but at what point is it going to become too much of a draw and too well rewarded to not be in a conference?
I mean, I believe they are still the only true independent left. Obviously, Oregon State and Washington State are only that way because of their
They're just kind of
transition
like
between.
they're straight up
Yeah, they're in
backside.
middle
Notre Dame are
ground,
straight up
waiting for the
independent.
pack. Yeah, and no one else. Obviously, UMass are not anymore. UConn, sorry, are as well. So you've got UConn, but I have a feeling the Big 12's going to make a run at UConn sooner rather than later. Jim Moore is making that program really good. The 9-win team last year, so UConn probably won't be unaffiliated much longer. But yeah, that's where you're at with your realignment news and bits and that. So I say a lot going on next year, but this year fairly simple. 2 new teams and 1 change. Right, we're going to leave it at that news-wise for now. As I say, all the other things we've seen over the last few months, which has been quite a lot, we will go over as the summer goes on. Don't worry, we will not miss them. If there's anything again you want us to chat about, let it in there and we'll sort that. But we're going to head into the first of our 3 little segments we've got lined up for you today. So, first up, we're going to be taking a look at the new head coaches who are in the FBS this year. So to say, there's 30 of them, technically 28, because we've got 2 interim head coaches, which is an odd one to have season-long interim head coaches already in before the season starts, but that's the way they're going. I'm going to assume neither of those 2 are on your list of guys you're going to watch this year of the new head coaches. Um,
I don't know. I don't think they're interim. No.
no, okay, that's fine. So the 2 interim head coaches going into this year, you've got Frank Reich, obviously the well-known hire there at Stanford. He's going to be head coaching under Andrew Luck this year, the new GM. They're going to be searching for their long-time guy there. But yeah, Frank Reich is going to be coaching Stanford in the ACC, and Mark Carney is going to be interim head coach at Kent State because something very weird happened with their head coach. The details still didn't come out for it. It's all very sketchy, but they're going to take their time in bring in someone new. And so yeah, Frank Reich and Mark Carney are the two interim head coaches, and then we've got 28 other head coaches starting this year. I'm going to very quickly go through where they've come from and a tiny bit about what they do, and then me and Ryan are going to single out some of the ones we're really interested in seeing this year. So, in terms of new head coaches, at Rice in the ACC, Scott Abel is the new head coach there. He comes in from Davidson College in the FCS, a purveyor of the triple option. So the Americans going to have three teams running the triple option this year. Good fun. We're looking forward to seeing that. Jason Eck is the new head coach at New Mexico. He is the former Idaho Vandals head coach, done well in the FCS recently. He is an offensive line specialist. At Appalachian State, we've got Dowell Loggins. He is the former South Carolina offensive coordinator. He is a first-time head coach, runs a great matchup offense there. At Marshall, we got a new head coach. We got Tony Gibson. I know him well. He's been the NC State defensive coordinator for the last 6 years, I think. He's moving into a first-time head coaching gig, runs a 3-3 stack defense, which has done really well for our team over the years. If only the offense was as good. Trey Lamb is in at Tulsa. He is the former East Tennessee State head coach, did a massive turnaround job at Gardner-Webb before that. At Central Michigan, we've got Matt Drinkle. He is the former Army offensive coordinator. So, Brent, you've got Army interest there at Central Michigan this year. We've got Joe Harasmiak at UMass. He is the former Rutgers defensive coordinator. We've got Mike Uramovich at Ball State. He is the former Butler head coach. We've got Jerry Mack at Kennesaw State. He is the former Jacksonville Jaguars running back coach. We've got Willie Simmons in at Florida International. He is the former Duke running back coach. We got Brian Smith in at Ohio, the MAC champions. He has been promoted from within the organization. He was their running back coach beforehand. We got Charles Huff at Southern Miss. He was Marshall's head coach last year. He won the Sun Belt and then transferred to the worst team in the Sun Belt in one of the more surprising moves there. We got Eddie George in the door at Bowling Green. He was the former Tennessee State head coach, and I have a feeling we're going to enjoy his tenure there. Charles Kelly is in at Jacksonville State. He's the former Auburn co-defensive coordinator. He's a first-time head coach. We got Matt Entz coming in at Fresno State. He was assistant head coach at USC, but mile marker, you might know him well. He was the dynasty leader at North Dakota State between 2019 and 2023. We got Phil Longo in at Sam Houston. He was the former Wisconsin offensive coordinator, purveyor of the air raid. We've got Zach Kitley in at FAU, Florida Atlantic. He is the former Texas Tech offensive coordinator. Ryan, guess what scheme he runs on offense? He was hired by Sonny Cumby. He was mentored by Cliff Kingsbury. He developed Bailey Zapp. Have a guess what offense he
I
runs.
wonder. That street, yeah, that's five spread men, empty backfield.
Yep, Florida Atlantic going the way of the air raid. We got Casey Keeler in at Temple. He's the former Sam Houston head coach, winningest head coach in FCS history before that. Barry Odom has moved from UNLV to Purdue this year. We've got Jimmy Rogers in at Washington State. He was the former head coach at South Dakota State last year. We've got Jake Dickert. He was the former Washington State head coach. He's now gone to Wake Forest to return them to the glory days of the air raid and the Sam Hartman era. Blake Harrell is in at East Carolina. He was the interim head coach last year. Got promoted, kept his job, did a good job there. You've got Tim Albin at Charlotte. He won the MAC with Ohio last year as their head coach. We've got Scott Frost in at UCF. He was an analyst with the LA Rams, did that shockingly bad job at Nebraska, but he made his name at UCF. He is going back home, as is Rich Rodriguez. He goes back to West Virginia where he made his name. So in 3 or 4 years' time, we should see him back at Michigan again. He won the CUSA with Jacksonville State last year. Bronco Mendenhall has gone to Utah State. He was the New Mexico head coach last year who made them very competitive. Did a really good job. Dan Mullen is in at UNLV, the ESPN analyst, or as well known, the Florida head coach. And then, of course, we've got him. Bill Belichick is at UNC this year. He is the New England Patriots head coach, or was the former. He is now head coach at UNC. So that is a quick breakdown on the 28 new guys and where they're from. I've got three I'm looking forward to seeing. Let's dive down into these. Ryan, first and foremost, which head coach team combo are you really looking forward to seeing this year out of the 28 new hires? And I should quickly add as well, Ryan does have FCS things here as well, if he can use that, so he might not have all of these guys.
Yeah. Well, my first one is like FBS, FCS, because you didn't mention him, but Deshaun Jackson. Like I say, he's been hired as the first-time head coach of the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens.
No,
So,
that's Delaware State.
oh, Delaware State, yeah. I said I made a note wrong. This one is very interesting because you say when you look at his resume, the only thing he's got, despite being like you say an elite special team returner, a long-time NFL player, is he was the offensive coordinator for Woodrow Wilson High School in California last year. So this is his first time having a job, and I find that very interesting, purely because we've seen the in the past and in recent years where you don't know if it's a gimmick. You don't know if it's a serious hire. We've seen guys like, say, former NFL players, like, say, kind of like commit to a job and then woof, quickly back out, like, say, days, weeks later. Or these guys that are coming in with little to no real experience. So, is this a name? Is this a hire to try get their? Is it a pull to try get players in? Is it is it doing it on the cheap? Like, say, which I don't know. It screams of like say he can't be on a massive payroll. Like say he doesn't really know how to form a staff. Is he going to be reaching out to former players that he's played with? So this is one of those hires where the floor is very low. Like you say, you have no real expectations for him. You couldn't even really say what kind of brand of football that he's going to rely on. 'Cause I don't know anything about the high school he came from, how successful they were, but it feels like a guy that is going to want to call his own plays. Even if he puts an offensive coordinator in, it kind of feels like he's going to have to really hold the reins. But it excites me. Like you say, he was an exciting player. He strikes me as a guy that's going to gamble. Like I said, the kind of guy that will be trigger finger, fourth downs, like you say, special teams, like you say, everything. Like you say, he's a likable guy. So I think this for me is a very interesting hire for the Hornets. Like you say, for them, last few years have been so. Like I say, they've not gone great, and well, actually, disaster 1-11 last year. That'd be sugarcoating it. So the floor is incredibly raw. He's coming into a team that is kind of at rock bottom right now. And for him, I think that's a great shoe-in. Like you say, I'd hate for him to come in, like you say, make him 5-6 and jump ship completely. Like I say, this is kind of a way to make a name for yourself, have 2, 3 good years, leave them in a better place you come from. But yeah, this is a hire I'm going to watch purely out of personality. Like you say, how does he get on being a coach? How does he get on with the players? Right, so not necessarily the results, but can they be competitive in a strong FCS conference against some good high-level opponents? How quickly can he take to this? And they're looking at end of the year, like say, how did he get on with his staff? Like say, who carried him? Were they carrying him? Like say, was he kind of overshadowing them? So for me, I think this is going to be a really interesting one to see how it pans out.
I'd just say Ryan's just let me know the three guys that he's got here and the three guys I've got. And we have this extraordinary run where we never agree on it. We always have different guys, which I love so much about this. It's great that you brought Deshaun Jackson up first, because even just today, so I watched the Locked On HBCU podcast a lot now because it's very interesting for all that sort of stuff. And they've been talking about Deshaun Jackson a lot lately, and he's been talking about NIL, and the guy was talking about it today, this interview that he did, and his words, not full on quotes here, but it was along this line. Because he's complaining, he said, there's not much I can do about NIL. It's up to you to make the school attractive that players will take less money to come and play with you, something along those lines. But his nigh on quote in this situation was, I might not be able to offer you $1 million, but I can offer you $50,000, and my personality is worth about $950,000 or something like that. I just thought that
Kind
was
of
quite funny.
collateral.
I like that. Like he's like, yeah, you might earn less money here, but you get me and you get my experience and you get things like that. So he's
This
got
is
a
a
very
match made in heaven, or this is going to be like this will end up in total fireworks, like you say. It's going to
Yeah.
be one or the other, and yeah, I don't know how their fan base feels. I'd be interested to. I imagine their fan base is worried, like you say, when you go out there and you do something extreme like this, where. But then again, also, if you look at the last 2 years, like 2 and like 20, it can't get any worse. The only way is up. So if you're going to take a gamble, well, you might as well do it now while you're struggling.
Yeah. Yeah. The vibes I get again, and listening to this pod, they quite like him and they like the way he's been speaking so far. So they are better equipped
This
to
is going
say
to be a
this than me.
trend. I reckon within the
But
next 5 years, we probably have
mm,
at least,
yeah.
I reckon we have at least like 30 top level coaches under the age of 40 that
Mm.
probably played at least 5, 10 years in the NFL. With little experience, I reckon it'll become a growing trend.
Yeah, I think he'll do well. I think he's going to be one of the ones who does well. I think you'll see Delaware State mentioned somewhere along the line. I don't know what the schedule's like this year. They obviously playing Delaware, who are now an
I
FBS
think they
team. I
both play
assume they will
against the
show
Fighting
that.
Hens, which
Yeah, so you got a
that's
platform
a good
there.
that would be a good measuring stick. A team that thinks it's ready for the FBS against
Yeah,
them.
yeah, exactly. Right. We'll move it on. So I'll move on to the first of my three guys here. This is the one I'm sort of doing the one I'm looking forward to the most. And some people might say this is me trying to redeem myself for last year, but when we did our conference previews last year, when we did our championship game previews for teams we thought we were going to get there, when it came to the CUSA, I uttered the words that Florida International were going to make it to the CUSA game, title game, and prove everybody wrong. I'm the only one who could see it. They fell flat on their face. They were absolutely terrible, and they finally fired Mike McIntyre. But they've made a hire that's made me very excited for this franchise now. And with all the FCS teams knocking around in there and Liberty not being the juggernaut it once was, I'm going to fall into the same trap and give them love here. So Willie Simmons is the new head coach at Florida International. And why do I like this so much? There's a lot of reasons for this. First off, he is a born and bred Floridian. It does sometimes matter when it comes to this stuff. He knows the area. He's been to high school there. He's played there. He's coached there. Florida is a very ripe area for recruitment, especially the lower downs. You get players from the Miami, the Florida State, Florida rosters who are still far better than anything you will recruit. If you're a good recruiter in that area, this is a good job for him. So native straight off the bat, love that. He is a winner and he is one of the elite recruiters in the country. So he forged himself in the HBCUs. Obviously, he won a SWAC championship at Alcorn State while he was offensive coordinator there. He had the second ranked scoring offense in the entirety of the FCS that year. Got himself a head coach job at Prairie View A&M. He had 3 winning seasons in a row there. The team had done that once in their entire history before he went there and just rattled off 3 straight winning seasons in a row. And then, of course, that got him his job that most people will know him for if you're in college circles, Florida A&M, the Rattlers, where he took over a team that had 7 successive losing seasons. The Rattlers had. He never had a losing season with them when he got there. He took them to the FCS playoffs in 2021, and then he absolutely leveled the SWAC in 2023. They went 12-1. They won the SWAC. They won the Celebration Bowl as well. I believe they took down much fancied Jackson State, if I remember back that rightly. But and then yeah, he created his dynasty there. He went to Duke last year to be running backs coach. That Duke team got 9 wins last year. He did good there, but he's back now. He wants to coach in the FBS. He's got a coaching record of 66-24. He has never had a losing season in his career, and that's going to be tested here at Florida International. But as we've seen, he's taken losing programs and he's made them winners because of his ability to recruit. Remember his FAMU days. Marquise Bell went to the NFL. Isaiah Land went to the NFL. This is from the HBCU level. There are players now know who they can go to the CUSA and he will make them NFL ready players. He will get them there and you've got to take the bigger picture of the team into account. There is a lot he can be done here. If you remember last year, Pitbull is now funding their NIL effort there. They've got a lot more money than some of these other teams in the CUSA to be able to attract talent in the first place. The stadium's good. The uniforms are absolutely fantastic. The Miami Vice stuff is some of the best stuff in all of college football. But the team he's got there as well, You got Keon Jenkins. He's the starter at quarterback. He's been the starter since a true freshman. He's thrown for 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns on that time. And his offensive coordinator he's brought in is called Nick Coleman. He was at UAB 2 years ago when Jacob Zeno had that massive breakout year there and broke God knows how many single season records at UAB. They've got three of their offensive line starters back. They've got a running back one. They've kept the defensive coordinator there. If you've been watching our CUSA previews over the years, Jovan DeWitt had one of the worst defenses in college football the last 2 years before last. They were 67th in total defense last year. For a CUSA team, that's bloody high. Like he's turned that thing around and got them going, and they've kept him on. You've got bona fide playmakers on that team. Brian Blades is still there. Benny Blades' nephew, for Detroit Lions fans, you'll know that he has had a great last 2 years. They produced Jordan Guerad the year before that, the really good defensive tackle now at Louisville. They create players here. And the CUSA is not the strongest conference in the world at this moment in time. And it's weak now because Jacksonville State just lost their head coach. And a lot of teams, Sam Houston lost their head coach. A lot of teams in disarray there. Oh no, I feel for FIU, I feel like Willie Simmons, this is going to be one where maybe not this year, but in 2 or 3 years, we're going to look at a perennial challenger for that championship.
I'd like to think so. Like I say, big program, big following. Like I say, they've got pull, like I say, and they've got allure, like I say, Pitbull Stadium, the money, like I say, facilities. They've got all the, and like I say, they've got the recent history, like I say, guys like Kiffin and that, like I say, they've got recent success that's not too far on the horizon. Like I say, yes, the recent times have been difficult, but it makes you look forward and think that they can quickly get back to those lofty heights again. Like I say, get some good seasons under their belt. They're primed for good recruitment. Like I say, it's a dog eat dog world feeding off the scraps of the Gators. But if you can put yourself ahead in front of the queue, like I say, to pick up those kind of guys, like I say, that want to stay in state, then you're primed to potentially make up a run and pick up a few hidden gems. So yeah, this is a team that can be one of those where they can turn it around pretty quickly if they so do wish and choose. So yeah, it's gonna definitely be an interesting team to watch. And yeah, it's a conference that yeah, it's kind of it can be anybody's whoever wants it. Like I say, it's one of those where in 5 years you could have five different winners. Like someone could emerge every year, so you're never out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's move on to another one of yours. And I just want to say, I knew instantly that one of these guys would be yours. I was certain you were going to pick two guys. You picked one, but we all know why one of these is on your list.
Yeah, so the hire that intrigues me the most, I think from a that kind of excites me is Trey Lamb. So the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. So first time head as coach. He's only 35. But like I say, despite youth, like I say, he's no slouch. He led the Gardner Webb Bulldogs to two back-to-back Big South titles and playoff berths. I believe that was between 2020 and 2021. So he was there for a couple of years. Like I say, he left there to go to East Tennessee State, where last year he had the third highest rushing offense in the program history with 2,330 positive yards on the ground as a team. Tulsa only managed 1,813, so over 500 more rushing rounds. And as I believe in their wins, East Tennessee State, they also held the third lowest program record of 110 yards of opposing offense per game. So, like I say, he goes for a strong air raid football, like you say, but he is really good. Like I say, he's solid. He has rose quickly. He's got a definite style type of player. He's very much gung ho. He's the kind of guy that wants to move the ball quickly. Like you say, he's not messing around too much at line of scrimmage. He wants to keep tempo. He'll go no huddle. A lot of times, like you say, despite all the rushing yards, may want an empty backfield. Like you say, kind of offense where he's going to put that, like say, quarterback. You're going to get under pressure. You're going to be dropping back a lot. But if you've got a quarterback that can deliver a quick ball, get it out, is kind of going to flourish. So this guy has done it at a couple of levels now, at different teams. And then he's come to a program right now that, to be fair, it's reeling. So 3-9, 4-5, 5-7 last 3 years. And that was 4 years ago. They went 7-5 with a bowl win. So the last 36 months have not been kind to a franchise that it's been pretty competitive. They've always been in thereabouts, but right now they've kind of lost their way. Like you say, they're struggling on offense, they're struggling on defense. They don't have much of an identity right now. And this feels like the perfect time for a team that's struggling to out there and get what some people like say will see as an up and coming star, and some will say like, oh, flash in the pan, like say maybe it's his staff or his coordinators that made him, but we're going to find out. Like I say, I like teams that take a gamble because it's a team that's got low expectations right now because there's going to be a big roster turnover. He's coming in with new ideas, be bringing in some staff. Like say, he'll probably be able to bring some of the players he's worked with in the past as well that he knows he thinks could compete at this next level. And at just 35 years old, he could be in it for the long run. If he turns the program around, or whether or not in 2, 3 years he's leaving this for a bigger and better opportunity, it means he's leaving the team in a better place than he found it. So this kid, yeah, like 3 years older than me, like I say, but he's already been in college football what feels like forever, whether it was playing or rose through the ranks very quickly as a coach. So prestigious position for him. It's a chance to really make a name for himself at this level, get a team just back to bowl eligibility, and they'll build the statue. The fans will come watch him. But I've got a feeling whether they win or lose, he will make their football more entertaining. He'll get bums on seats. He should sell tickets, and ultimately if it does go right on both sides of the ball, if he can get a defensive mind to help him, he will make this team a more competitive outfit in their own conference.
Yeah, Trey Lamb at Tulsa, certainly one we're going to keep an eye on. Young, upcoming star there. Second guy I've got on mine, going to the Sun Belt this time. Was I in the Sun Belt before? No, I wasn't. Yes, no, I wasn't. I'll see you there. So, Southern Miss. So, Charles Huff. So, one of the most bizarre coaching scenarios of last year. Charles Huff won the Sun Belt with Marshall last year. For whatever reason, they couldn't come to terms on a new deal. Apparently, the AD didn't like him very much, and there was a lot of backstage politics and stuff going on there. So he's out at the Sun Belt Champions, and you're thinking he's done a very good job there over the last few years. Played incredibly good football, running football, beat Notre Dame in South Bend a couple of years ago. He's going to get a good job from this. The day after he's fired, he goes to Southern Miss, who finished rank ass bottom of the Sun Belt last year, which is just such an intriguing thing for me. But for Huff himself, he's a run game specialist. So this is going back years. He was running back coach at Penn State for Saquon Barkley all those years ago, helped develop him there. He was running back coach at Alabama when Najee Harris won the Dope Walker in 2020. And then at Marshall, he oversaw 2,000-yard seasons for Rasheen Ali, who is now in the NFL with the Baltimore Ravens, I believe, and a 1,500-yard season for Kalen Laborn, who just had that one absolutely incredible season and then did nothing else apart from that. His teams live to run the football, and Marshall were a very tough nut to crack. They controlled time of possession, they ran the football on you, and as I say, masterminded one of the biggest wins in the program's history when they went to South Bend and they beat Notre Dame on their own patch. Overall, he went 32-20. He won a Sun Belt, and he went bowling every single year, which is a decent recovery. The one year he didn't do so well, they were beset by injuries for the entire season, so it wasn't really on him. Now, why is this intriguing for me? He says, as I mentioned, the big one, for me, he should have gotten a better job. But in going to Southern Miss, this opens up a very interesting possibility here. He's taken a big risk going to a program that has not been good. I mean, we're going back decades now, potentially. They used to be a good program. They've been down in the dust for years. They've won 3 games or less in 4 of the last 5 years. They have an NIL budget which is smaller than Wichita State. I don't even know who Wichita State are and what level of football they play at. And like a lot of bad group of five teams, any talent they do get, they just get rinsed of every time a transfer portal opens up. The only exception being Frank Gore Jr., who was there recently, who stayed there his entire career. Um, the only FBS team with less NIL money is Louisiana Monroe. But if you listen to this podcast a lot, we mentioned Louisiana Monroe a lot this year. We even did a feature on Louisiana Monroe last year. Why? Because we really like the head coach who's there, Brian Vincent. Brian Vincent went 5-7 with the Warhawks in year one last year and was competitive. It can be done He has shown that you can go to one of these bottom feeding, bottom of the FBS programs, which has done nothing in forever. If you have the right coach, have the right mentality, bring the right players in, you can be competitive. And for a start of the year, ULM were in contention to win their division. Such was how well they were playing. They weren't scoring many points, but they weren't giving many up either. So if Charles Huff goes there and turns this around somehow and puts them to the top of the Sun Belt, not only will he be looking at the creme de la creme of jobs in the group of five, he might get a good power four gig out of this. And for me, he deserves it. He's taking 52 players there with him. Their transfer portal class is 52 strong. At least over half of that is players from his Marshall team who he has just won the Sun Belt with. So, I mean, this is why I'm intrigued about this. I know he's a good coach. I know he can do it without the most amount of money in the world. If you run the football, you don't need to spend flashy, jazzy amounts on wide receivers who give you 1,000, 1,500 yards per year. But I really hope that he turns that thing round. I've got the same soft spot for him that I have for Brian Vincent as well. Both of those two at ULM and Southern Miss. I'm rooting hard for them because both of them deserve jobs a lot higher up the chain than they're at the minute. So Charles Huff, I am in his corner at Southern Miss this year. I hope they turn that thing around because when they're good, they can be great. And they've been known for their rushing of the football as well. So it's going to fit into his style there. So we will see with that one. That's Charles Huff at Southern Miss. And your last one, Rye, another FCS made guy coming up to do battle with the FBS.
Yeah, and this one, with no hyperbole, because I don't like to exaggerate, is going to be potentially one of the best hires in the whole country. Matthew Entz, Fresno State, like I say, first time FBS head coach at the age of 52. So he won two national titles as head coach of the Bison. He was part of four more titles as the defensive coordinator and the linebackers coach there. So he spent nearly 9 years there and was part of a staff on his own and as the leader that won six titles, including under Chris Kleiman. He was part of They had a dominant grip. They had their hand around the throat of college football for the best part of a decade, and he was one of the reasons why. So he's now at age 52. He's got a great opportunity here to come to a team that lost its way, lost its identity, lost a lot of players in the portal. Like I say, it's lost its starting quarterback. Like I say, Mikey decided he's going to go try and be the backup or try challenge for the job at Michigan. But yeah, but this isn't his first stop in the FBS. So last year he decided to accept a assistant head coach and linebacker job under Lincoln Riley at the USC Trojans, headed out west, which is an interesting stop for him. So in 2023, the Trojans conceded 447 points on the season. They hired him as assistant head coach and linebackers. They only conceded 313 in 2024. So his defensive expertise and knowledge clearly went they have to have played some part in a defense that suddenly shipped 160 less points. The guy is influential, and the guy knows defense and linebackers like the back of his hand. Like I say, he's worked with some outstanding talent throughout the nation. So 24/7 has their portal class as fifth in the Mountain West. So he quickly got to work because they lost like 21 players. Like I see, they've had players graduate. They lost a lot to the portal after what was quite a difficult and poor season by their standards. But yeah, he's got a new offensive coordinator, a new DC. So it's the first time that he can really assemble his own staff because at the Bison, kind of they knew everyone. They didn't have to tinker with their staff because they were a well-oiled machine. But now he's coming to a place where he needs to find some new gears, some new cogs, some new guys to work with. But yeah, he's one of the more prolific hires, in my opinion, purely because of the resume is so long and he's worked with so much talent that's gone to the NFL. Across all them years, like I said, the talent, the guys he's coached, the talent, like I say, they may not be household names, but have gone on to play long careers. So for me, this is one of those where he could become a legend. Like I say, right now, the Boise State Broncos, the UNLV Rebels, they're kind of like say on a pedestal at the top of Mountain West. And that's been like that for a long time, so that's no different. But Fresno State at one point in recent years were competing, but they've fallen away. And they need someone to try now, kind of equalize, need a power shift, and need someone to come in. And the guy will pull no punches. Like I say, their defense will instantly get better. Like I say, he'll work with the offensive coaches to get them better, and whoever they do start in the centre. But I feel like this is the right job for him right now. He's been at that. He's been in a gravy train. Like he's been part of a winning team. Now he's got the chance to try take a team that is kind of always there and thereabouts, but in the last few years has been found wanting, especially late on in season where they've kind of fizzled out at the end of the year. It's time to prove his mettle now and prove that he's a top tier guy. And at 52, if he does a great job here, a power four team will come calling. Like I say, he's got a long time left in coaching. There's got a lot of guys that will be watching how he does this year to see if he is the real deal. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. Like I say, this could be one of those where it could be a very quick turnaround if he has the impact he has, like I say, on teams in the past.
Yeah, I like this fit as well. It was one of the ones I was thinking about doing. Like you say, he's used to winning, and that is a big program with a lot of fans, a lot of money given.
He's got
Interest
pull as well.
An interesting scenario next year when they move into the pack, because Washington State are moving, and his nemesis from South Dakota State, Jimmy Rogers, will be in conference. So you're going to have the coaching rob because he kind of effectively ended the tenure there, didn't he, with getting South Dakota State to relevance.
Yep.
So he's going to have some scores to settle next year when he meets Jimmy Rogers again at Washington State. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that one a lot as well. And then my last guy. I've got on here. So again, this is a very intriguing matchup for me. It's first time head coach with a fallen powerhouse, but if this gets right, this is going to get right in a big way. Dowell Loggins at Appalachian State. For me, incredibly intriguing hire. Dowell Loggins is vastly experienced. He's been in the NFL for years. He was at the Bears for a while, but we can forgive everyone their sins. And he's been in college for the last few years as well. Most recently, spent the last 2 years orchestrating the Lenoris Sellers-led offense if rebound in South Carolina. It took some time to get going, but we all saw at the end of last year just how much that offense was humming and how much his input has helped turn that South Carolina offense around. And he's got his reward for it. First time head coach gig. And Appalachian State, kind of like Fresno State, a team that is used to winning, that is used to being at the top of the pile, who's fallen on harder times of recent. App State dominated the Sun Belt football in the later halves of the 2010s. But 2019 was the last championship, and 2021 was the last time that they made the championship games. 2 of the last 3 years, they've gone 3-5 in conference. I mean, this is a team that should be a Sun Belt contender, fighting for that group of five playoff spot that's now available, not finishing below the likes of Old Dominion. And that's no disrespect to Old Dominion because I love Old Dominion, but a team of App State's tier should be doing better. So this is a huge opportunity for Dow Loggins there. If he gets them right, the world is going to be his oyster. He will get appearances in the playoffs. He will put himself and his team on a pedestal for this whole world to see. Now, obviously, he's not going to have Lenoris Sellers with him at Appalachian State, but you'll remember this name, right? AJ Swan is going to be his quarterback
Former
there this
Vandy
year.
quarterback,
And AJ Swan was very good
very
in the
experienced.
SEC with Vanderbilt. Obviously, he went to LSU last year to try and battle for Nussmeier's spot. He did not get it. But at the group of five level, this is an absolutely fantastic signing for him at quarterback. And this is a team, it has lost some to the portal this year, but you've had a lot of young talent coming up over this team. Obviously, what they did with Joey Aguiar was tremendous. Nate Johnson, they developed into a tremendous edge rusher. Kanye Roberts, the running back, all his freshmen making impacts. So again, this is a place where you've got the resources at your disposal to go and do good things. And the Sun Belt is very competitive. This may take a bit of time, but after what he's done at South Carolina, if he gets that offense humming as it does in true Mountaineers style, then they can win shootouts like that one they 70-50 they won against UNC a couple of years ago. You go out and win the Sun Belt with an offense that good. So Dow Loggins at App State, I am very much looking forward to seeing there. So those are the six guys we've got who we're sort of highlighting for you as the teams that we're intrigued, and we're going to keep a very close eye on them as the season goes along. I suppose it would be quickly remiss not to talk about Bill and UNC. obviously the whole sideshow that's going off there with Jordan Hudson and everything. I don't know. What if we've had enough time to digest this now? What are your vibes telling you about how this is going to go there? Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, I see this ending quickly and brutally.
One and done. Resignation. I think he's already got it drafted on his laptop, just saved in the folder.
Or Jordan Hudson does for him.
Yeah. I don't think it ends well. It's a program for me that won't play. I don't think they'll be very good. Like say, and as good as the coach he is, he's only gonna have so much impact in such a short amount of time with players that he doesn't know. He can't bring in anyone he wants because, well, they might have finances, but it don't mean they ain't gonna throw the bag at it. 'Cause like I say, I think they know right now. So yeah, uh, people gonna have to lower expectations. If he's the head coach of week one in 2026, frankly, I'll be amazed. If this goes bad, like I said, I'd hate a bad UNC season to be the last football game I coach and on my resume. It feels like after that, you're like it's retirement.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I hated the hire. I don't think it's a good fit, and frankly, I think he's crazy taking it. But if he
We'll have to
somehow has a
see.
good year, then yeah, like I say, everyone will be like say they'll be singing his praises.
It's going to be obvious quick because their prime time first game. I can't remember who they're playing, but I know they're in a major prime time slot, so the whole world is going to be watching that thing.
It's
So,
Frank Reich. It's Stanford.
oh, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's Frank Reich
Two
versus
NFL
Bill Belichick.
stalwarts, basically interim coaches, what I consider them as. Two teams as well, like I say, that have struggled.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a big game, like I say. It's a must win for both of them. You got to
it
get off the
is.
right foot.
It is indeed. I think the other one, I think Dan Mullen's going to flame out at UNLV. I believe that was all Brennan Marion there.
I
Rich
like that.
Rodri,
I like Dan Mullen as a person. I've
yeah,
never been overly enamored with him as a coach. As an analyst, he was okay, but I don't know. Yeah, to step into someone's shoes in a team that looks ready made to win, you could quickly don't come down to earth.
yeah,
If he stinks that up, and like say everyone's like, well, they were one of the darlings of the nations, now they stink it. Like Dan Mullins, like say, the reputation will just be in tatters.
yeah, yeah. A lot of guys are doing rebounds this year. Obviously, Scott Frost, he needs a rebound. Rich Rodriguez, I mean, he doesn't need a rebound. He's on the way up. I know Michigan fans are going to be watching that closely. Sharon Moore starts to struggle and Rich Rodriguez starts to do well at West Virginia. Lightning may strike twice. But we will see with those. So yeah. And then the other honorable mention I want to make, everyone will know this. Brennan Marion at Sac State. That is the higher of all hires. Sac State are going to be such a good team under him. If you get a chance to watch Sac State this year, do so. Because Brennan Marion's an absolute genius. Right, let us move this on. So we have gone through first time head coaches. We've gone, oh no. Yeah, we've just done that one. So we've still got two to go. Right, so I think we'll move over into the edge rushing duos next. Let's just quickly go through any comments that's in there. Um, Brent goes, Wolfpack over the Seminoles. Did you confirm that with Ash? Yes, I did. He doesn't get a say in the matter. The Wolfpack are beating the Seminoles this year. Wichita State, the Shockers. I don't know. Are they called the Shockers? I don't
Yeah,
know.
they've
Would
got a
not.
famous basketball team. I think they've even
Oh, are they
been.
actually? I
Yeah,
was shocked. I,
they're
I,
like I think their logo's a wasp.
oh.
I think they're like a famous D2 or D3 school in a lot of sports. So I think they're quite historic.
Yeah. So I was watching a history of Southern Miss the other day just to try and get a little bit of a gauge on them to do this, and they did the list, and I'm like, who the hell are we? They've got less money than Furman as well. I don't think Furman's the biggest school in the world. Has a bigger, it's like 2.8 million. Like some teams are spending more than that on one player. Absolutely crazy. Anyhow, so yeah. As I say, let's move this one on. And we'll go into edge rushing duos now. So, as I mentioned, this goes back to when we were asked at the end of last year who we thought some of the best edge rushing duos were going to be coming into the season next year, and we didn't mention Michigan, and we mentioned Clemson instead, as you should do if you're a regular person. And Brent has pursued me over this one, so I thought, well, let's go out. Let's go and have a look at some of the best edge rushing duos out there, potentially going into this season. So for me, there's been no set criteria for these. These might just be guys who are highly rated, who I think are going to be good, guys who are good pairings, have experience behind them. There's no set criteria. It's my gut. here with this one, I think. I've done. I don't. Have you? How many have you done for this, Rye?
I've got one that's finished.
All right, that's fine. Well, I'll. Who is it?
Oregon.
Oh, right. I haven't got those. So we. I don't know how we'll do this. We'll go through your discussion with Oregon first. So quickly, I'm just going to do some honorable mentions, and we'll get those out the way. So the ones that I didn't put in my top five, but I did have written down here. I didn't actually have Oregon in there, weirdly enough. But I've got Rutgers, weirdly enough, Eric O'Neill and Bradley Weaver at Rutgers. I got Kentucky. So you got Cameron Olds, he's a transfer from Kent State, and you've got McQueese Humphrey Grace, who is the South Dakota. Was he South Dakota? The edge, the very good edge rusher from there. I think he was.
I
He was
believe
one
so.
of. It's either that or State. But Kentucky have got themselves a great pair of transfer edges there. At Missouri, you've got Damon Wilson the second, the big get from Georgia, and Nate Johnson, the very good sophomore from Appalachian State. I got Auburn in there. Obviously, they've got Keldrick Falk, who might be a top 10 pick this year, and Amaris Williams. If top edge rushers are not mentioned in this, it just means they've not got a good enough partner for me. At Iowa, you've got Max Llewellyn and Ethan Herkett. At South Carolina, you've got Dylan Stewart and Brian Thomas Jr. And then at Duke, you've got Wesley Williams and Vincent Anthony Jr. Those are my honorary ones. You go through. So Ryan's going to start us off with Oregon. Do you want to go through them?
Yep. So it's a bit of a wild card because this is one of those where one of the players is legit and the other one I still have a glimmer of hope for. So the first player is one, like I say, he's going to be a 2026 first round draft pick potentially, is Mateo Ugalele, the 6'5" Polynesian pass rusher, Oregon. So his career totals 38 tackles, 24. He got 10 and a half sacks, two forced fumbles, 12 tackles for loss, interception, two pass breakups. Like I say, that's 2024. Like I say, 10 and a half sacks, 12 and a half tackles for loss last year. He was an absolute menace as a stand-up pass rusher or able to put his hand in the dirt. Like you say, he's big, he's physical, he's got strength, he's got good long arms. Like you say, he's not the fastest, but he's a guy that has got good motor. He's strong, he's aggressive. He's someone that has a real good opportunity this year to make a name for himself as like a potential top 10, top 20 pick. He's someone, like I said, that the Lions probably will take a very strong look at, I imagine, next year, depending on where they're picking. But he's kind of now the face of the franchise, like I say, because Derek Harmon's gone. Uh, Josh, but I try to remember his name. Josh
Oh,
Barnes, I'd say the other
yeah.
defensive edge rush this year, Oregon. So the
Oh,
two main men
Jordan Birch.
Birch, yeah. So those two have gone now, and that frees up a lot of looks for Mateo this year. He's going to get that first time chance as a proper every down kind of guy, as a guy that's going to have to go against the run, and he's going to have to do another job of getting double-digit sacks this season for Dan's men to try steer them back towards making that deep payoff push. So on one side, like I say, he's going to command probably all the attention, especially on the outside as a pass rusher, but he's got the skill. He's got age as well. He's only 19, not even turned 20 yet. The kid is still learning his game, but as soon as he's able to declare, I would implore him to go pro purely because I want to get as many years of him I can as possible. I've seen flashes out of him. He's just got to polish the game right now, work on the run defense, but as a pass rusher, sky's the limit for him. Like I say, it's scary how big he is. I'd love to know what his diet is. Just muscle. Like I say, they build them. Them genes are crazy, whatever they do it, like I say. And he's got a chance to be the best ukulele brother out there. Like I say, he's got a chance to really make a name for himself in next year's class. And on the other side, people will scoff when I say this, but the good Ducks did pick up Bear Alexander. Like I said, the defensive tackle, like I say, it's had I don't know. He's had an underwhelming career for someone that was such a high level recruit coming out of high school. Like you say, landed with the Bulldogs, got two sacks in his freshman year as a rotation kind of guy. And you kind of thought, all right, he's going to put it together. Like I say, 190, 140, strong build, stout in the middle. Next thing you know, it's in the portal. Like I say, he spent 2 years at the Trojans. He's only picked up 1.5 sacks. Like I say, he's got 50 kind of tackles as a rotational piece, but someone that no, there's a guy that consistency will be the problem. Like you say, you always think about the ethic? Is he doing his homework? Like I say, that's why I like the fit here because I like Dan Lanning to kind of be the guy to put his arm around him because I've always had questionable coaches or staff at Georgia. Like the Trojans, for me, I've never trusted the coaching staff to kind of take a kid like this and to be able to put an arm around him and get the best out of him. But he's landing on a team right now that, as we say, we've mentioned guys have lost big names on their interior. They're going to be crying out for some guys, some stalwart in the middle. Being a junior, it's his last chance. If he's going to have any sort of stock going into 2026, this could be the perfect place that he regains that. Just picks up a couple of sacks, try to get as much tape as he can going into next year. Then, like I say, maybe get a combine visit. But I still think that there's a player there. There was a kid there a couple of years ago, like I say, that could be a menace. Like I say, he's lost his way a little bit now. He's getting older, like I say, and he's had some stops around. Like I say, he's had guys that have probably written him off by now. But I'd like to think if Mateo can take a lot of pressure, like you say, and take a lot of the looks on the outside, that someone will probably overlook this guy in the middle. But he's got the talent, like you say, he's got strength, like you say, he's got a step. He's able to win up the middle, and I've seen that in some big games against some big teams. So yeah, last chance saloon, but I'm gonna hang my hat out there and says I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he easily passes the 3.5 sacks he's got in his career this year. I think he has a stellar career year. And like I say, it's going to be, it'll do in the world of good going into 2026. But yeah, they need to rebuild that line in the Ducks. They've got one piece. They've added other players in the portal. Like I said, Dan Lanning's going to have a job on his hands, I must say, to try and get these two to just even plug the hole of the production they've lost last year. But yeah, I've got faith in them. I still think they'll be there to make a potentially deep playoff run, despite being rinsed at multiple positions and questions all over. But yeah, I think these two guys anchoring that defensive line will go a long way to potentially getting them back to the playoffs.
There's just something in that Oregon water that makes Uangalele brothers play well. When they try and go over to the East Coast, they're just useless. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Mateo this year. He'll be a very good player for the Ducks. Right, we'll dive into mine. So I say I've done a top five. We'll go from five to one and discuss them as we go. I've got one honorable mention because this is so left field, it just might be genius. So my honorable mention for this year, my actual one, is the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Now, people like Oklahoma State were really bad last year. Like, no one's going to deny that. The one thing they were good at was rushing the passer, and they've brought in a pair of transfer edge rushers this year who I think are going to benefit from this and are going to absolutely smoke this place. And so we've got Kyron Duhon and we've got Malik Charles. So Kyron Duhon, 6'2", 250 pounds. He was a freshman sensation at UTEP last year. 7 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 13 quarterback pressures, had a 10% havoc rate. His run defense grade was 74, and he had just a 9% missed tackle rate on over 40 tackles on the year. For a true freshman, that's absolutely outstanding to be that good in both facets of the game at such a young age and just straight off the bat in a conference that's not easy. He was one of the most sought after prospects in the portal, full stop. And Oklahoma State, for all their problems over the years, have always put good talent in the NFL off their defense. He's only 6'2" at the minute, but he's only 18 years old. He's young, so he's gonna grow. He's gonna add to that frame. Already at 250 pounds at such a young age, he's gonna have an NFL frame by the time he is done. I am really looking forward to seeing him play that. I think he might be one of the breakout stars of the year, full stop. And his running mate, even more intriguing, Malik Charles, 6'5", 255 pounds. That is an NFL frame, and he's only a junior, I believe, coming into this year. However, he's coming from a lot further down the chain. He's coming from Division Two, West Georgia, to be precise. Team captain last year on that side, was only there a year. 7 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 33 tackles on the season. He was an all UAC player. This is the guy who he is quick, he is electric for his size. I've seen a bit of tape on him, like his closing speed on the quarterback is insane, and it's going to take him a bit of time to adapt, but their depth is not good there. I think he's going to see playing time very early at that point, and as I say, their D line is not that bad there. So for me, this is the real left field pairing in the Power Four who are going to make waves this year. Kyron Duhon and Malik Charles there at Oklahoma State. Right, let's move it into my top five, and we'll fall out with Brent sooner rather than later. It's first show, so I've got to do that. Staying in the Big 12 at five, for me, And this team has gone out and spent a lot of money this year. It's got the number
Yeah, that
one
is nice.
transfer rated portal in the country. I've got the Texas Tech Red Raiders here, and specifically another transfer pairing they've bought in David Bailey from Stanford, 6'3", 240 pounds. And then from Georgia Tech, Romello Height, also 6'3", 240 pounds. Bailey is phenomenal. He is a stick of dynamite with bullet train closing speed. The first step can end the play before it starts. Like this guy is just absolutely phenomenal. 7 sacks and 5 forced fumbles last year. He is a turnover magnet and a big play guy. He's just produced endless big plays for what has been an absolutely terrible team. And it's a team that he has been very loyal to the last few years. The only reason he went in the portal this year is because Andrew Luck pulled that coup on Troy Taylor and got him fired. He was going to stay there another year, but when his coach got done for, he went in the portal. And of course, Texas Tech are paying all the money to everybody this year. So Bailey's now going to front that team this year on their verge for the playoffs. And they're pairing him with Romello Height. Now, much different here. He's a 6th-year super senior. And like you were talking about Bear Alexander a minute ago, he's had a very for the first 4 years he did nothing in his career. He was at Auburn, he was at USC, didn't do anything there. Went to Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech unlocked something in him last year. He, from watching his tape, he is quick, he's aggressive, the hand fighting, the technique with that is great. And weirdly enough, the pass rush arsenal is deep. You see him pulling out spins, he's got the rips, you see him swim and spin, all this sort of stuff he's got in there. It belies the amount of sacks he's got in his career. He got 3 sacks last year. He is a lot more talented than the numbers indicate, and Georgia Tech is not the best place in the world to be able to show your skills there. And this year he's going to be playing opposite a superstar. Bailey's going to get all the attention on that line. He's going to get a lot more one-on-ones. He's very smooth, very experienced as a 6th-year player. He's got everything you need. I think Romello Height's going to have one of those under-the-radar seasons that nobody notices about whatsoever. And another key component here, the defensive coordinator at Texas Tech this year is Sheil Wood. Army fans will remember him. So he was the DC at Army. Remember when Andre Carter had that stupidly good season in 2021? He was the defensive coordinator for that. He was the one who trained him. And then he went to Troy as defensive coordinator. You think Javon Solomon in the NFL with the Buffalo Bills, Richard Gibanor broke the school record for sacks the season after. Edge rushers are his speciality, and now he's got a superstar there and a potential 6th-year breakout star there. I don't know about you, right, but I think these two together, especially with the money spent on that team, could go nuts this year. They might be higher than this ranking. It's just because the transfers, and Romello needs to prove he can do it at a top level for a year.
Oh, these two are going crazy. Yeah. Look who's between them. The best DT in the college, probably Lee Hunter. Like I say, it's their job. They have landed in such a good position because they ain't gonna have to worry about run support because they've got two defensive tackles between them that are two of the best run stuffing DTs in the country. They're just going to be tasked with go get the quarterback. Like you say, in Texas Tech right now, oil baron just throwing money at it. But it's going to pay dividends. These two guys could easily combine for, like you say, like 18, 19, 20 sacks. A lot of people say, yeah, the Red Raiders, rightly so, when you throw a lot of money at, usually it works. Like I said, they're a team to watch in the country. And they've gone out there and got the best guys that they could. They've just spent like $200 million on a brand new locker room that looks like the Death Star. It looks like something out of Star Wars, like a control room. Like, who would not want to play there right now? I can't even answer that.
St. Patrick Mahomes is the evil emperor as well. That makes sense using the Star Wars. I think he's got his own like special room or something in there, doesn't he? They pay homage to him in it anyhow, but it's great. So yeah, I've got Texas Tech at number 5. Now, Brent, my friend, my very good friend, who we love each other a lot. Bear with me until the end of this, until you've heard my explanations. At number 4, I do have the Michigan Wolverines, the 4th best rushing duo in the country now. So there's a lot of time to go for the season, a lot can happen, but this is my initial thoughts on where they're at. So here we've got Derek Moore and we've got TJ Guy. Derek Moore 6'3", 256 pounds. TJ Guy is 6'4", 250 pounds. Both right off the bat, yeah, They've got the bodies, they've got the framework they need to succeed. And one of the rarities for these, they're both homegrown as well. These two, for me, have massive potential. It's about being consistent, which will take them to the next level in these rankings. So, Derek Moore is a senior this year. He's played since he was a freshman. He worked his way from rotation to starter this year. One of the things that immediately steps out, he's 256. He plays like he's 230. Like, where does that weight go? How he chucks his body round the. He's a speed to power guy. Like, he just absolutely shoots like a bolt of lightning off the line of scrimmage and then transfers it all into this thick, muscly frame that he's got. That's his game. That's what he's based on. It's pure bully ball domination, like they like to do at Michigan. But he does rely on it a little too much on that physique. You've got to develop your counters. Your pass rush moves could stand with getting a little bit better as well. There are instances of him on tape where the better tackles get under him. And if you out leverage him, then there's not a lot going after that. But there's no doubt he is stupidly talented, but the numbers stalled last year. The sack numbers went down, the tackle numbers went down, the run stop numbers went down. It's just that's the inconsistency that just plagues me a little bit with him. And he's never played more than 480 snaps in a season. I would like to see a higher workload from him to show that you can be the guy who comes in, does it week in, week out. You can take, because you're going to have to take a much bigger load than that at NFL level. It's the thing that kind of plagued Kenneth Grant, not playing too many snaps in a year. Can he do the grinding workload as the big guy? But there's no doubt he is talented as hell, and he's going to be the focal point this year. They're the one he's going to look at. So I'm interested to see there. TJ Guy, he's had to wait a long time for his chance at Michigan. He rode the pine for 3 years. He obviously did special team stuff like that, but he broke out more last year. He started 6 games, but he did play in them all. 6 sacks, 25 quarterback pressures, but he's never been a full-time starter heading into year 5. And again, you've no Kenneth Grant this year, you've no Mason Graham this year. Yes, you do have a Rayshon Benny who is very good, and he's going to be a great defensive tackle, I've no doubt. But there's going to be a lot of pressure placed on these two edge rushers to deliver this year. And all it for me is about the consistency. He looked very good last year. Derek Moore has looked good in parts. Can you, consistent with a high-end workload, go out there and be the difference maker? Because you lost a lot of games last year that you normally wouldn't. Now, it wasn't really the defense's fault last year, but for me, they're good. I just need to see the consistency a little bit more there. But at the end of the day, they're still so high on here. Why are they still so high on here? It's Michigan. They find a way. And that may sound like a lazy comp, but with these guys, they always seem to find a way to develop their D linemen and get them to where they need to go. Like you've seen just the conveyor belt that's come out. So I like these two. There are other units I am more high on. What do you reckon of the two Wolverines guys, Rye?
Uh, I think they're good in a small sample size. Like say, will it relate well over, let's say, 700, 750 snaps? Like say, once we start getting to that threshold where you're asked to be on the field pretty much all the time. Like say, does your missed tackle rate shoot up a lot? Like say, how are you doing when you're playing against a team that primarily want to run the ball and you're asked to set the edge and keep contained? Are you able to stay consistent then and then take your chances when you're asked to rush the passer? These guys, like say, that go like a lot of bull rush, like say a lot of speed to power. It's going to be the hands. Like say, how are your hands? Because there'll be guys like say that will just absorb those blows over a period as you slow down, as you tire of more snaps. That will become less effective. So they're going to have to find different ways to win if they're going to play 300, 350 more snaps this year. So be interesting to see if their numbers do gradually increase or do they stagnate as maybe their snap count if they somehow made the playoffs like doubled. So yeah, two guys that like say I've had the benefit of playing and learning for some really good guys. Like I said, but now you're the guys. And like I say, the interior, like I say, you've seen two supreme talents leave on the interior. So how well can you rely? How well are the guys going to do in between them to take pressure off them? So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they do as a unit.
Yeah, it's the same argument with Rashawn Benny. I think Rashawn Benny's going to be a wonderful deep tackle for them, but it's just dealing with the expectations. Sometimes it takes time. That was where I was at when I was with them. With the groups above, I didn't have as many question marks. So yeah, I've got Michigan at number 4 when it comes to the edge rushing duos into this upcoming year. Number 3, and this is a team who we might hear about later for other purposes, but I've got the Florida Gators here at number 3. So, and forgive me, this might technically be cheating, but there's 3 guys here, but hear me out. So you've got Tyreek Sapp there, 6'3", 272 pounds. You got George Gums, who's 6'4" and 249 pounds. And you've got LJ McCray as well. He's 6'6", 264 pounds. Now, bear with me a one moment. So, technically cheating. Let's start with Tyreek Sapp, 6'3", 272. Potential first round draft pick next year. He's getting mocked in the teens, I believe, at this moment in time. Now, like Moore at Michigan, it has been a slower ascent to the top for him. And he's been on a bad Florida team, but I like how he's done it. He started on special teams, nailed special teams, went into the rotation, nailed been on the rotation. Last year, he nailed been a first team player. This year, he needs to nail been a star. It's the next logical progression there. But I like how he's got where he's been. There's no coincidence that when he really started to break out towards the end of last year, that Florida also looked a lot better as well and started winning a lot more games. 8 sacks, 13 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, had an elite 89 grade against the run. 272 pounds. He's got that NFL ready frame to be a big end against the run. But the pass rush is also hugely upstyled to him as well. For me, he's technically very advanced as well. Again, when you look at the hands, you look at the pass rush repertoire, it's varied, it's inconsistent to the tackles. They don't know what's coming. The hands are very good. What he needs to do this year is become a star, which is befitting a round 1 pick. Like 8 sacks last year is good. You want to get up into double digit sacks this year, and you want to really act like an edge one does and really take it by the scruff of the neck. And this is a massive year for Florida. Like they need to put up or shut up this year. He's going to be one of the ones behind this, and he needs a full workload as well. He's also not worked over 500 snaps in a year. I'm going to ping more on it. I'll ping him on it as well. But I love Tyreek Sapp, and I think he is going to be a massive player for them this year. And then you look at the guy with him. So George Gums is very underrated for a couple of reasons. So last year he transferred in from Northern Illinois. So he was adjusting to the SEC last year after transfer, but he still came up with 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups, a whole good bunch of tackles as well. He only started playing defense in 2023 at Northern Illinois. They switched him sides of the ball, so he's been an edge rusher for 2 years. He balled out his first year at Northern Illinois, got his transfer to Florida, and put up very respectable numbers in that team last year. I've seen the interviews with his coaches. Athletically, he is absolutely freakish. There is nothing he can't do as an athlete. And working as a number 2 on that line, he did a lot of dirty work that did not get appreciation. And the weird thing about him, he is a senior. He's a redshirt senior this year, but you don't know how high the ceiling is because he's so new to the position, but he's developing at such a rate of knots that he could go after the Chuck Bednarik this year, and you would not be surprised. Again, he's working opposite a potential superstar. He's going to get more one-on-one looks. But for how well he's done in how short a period of time he's done and the amount of opposition he's come up against, for me, he's incredibly underrated. And for me, these are going to be a fearsome pairing next year. However, if it doesn't work, if he stalls, if he regresses, they've got LJ McCray in the back pocket here. So obviously the crown jewel of their 2024 class, the recruit class, was DJ Lagway. Everyone know how well DJ Lagway did last year. They got another very high 5-star recruit that year. That was LJ McCray. 5-star edge prospect, dipped his toe in the roster last year, 200 snaps on the team. They moved him around a little bit, just got him integrated into that team. If Gums falls and falls by the wayside, LJ McCray is going to step into that gap. And from what I've seen of him, he could be better than what Tyreek Sapp is going to be. The ceiling is that high for him. So I've got the pair in there, but if the lesser one falls off, I think someone's going to move straight into that category. But right, I mean, this is a big year for Florida, but that defensive line, they've got a first round potential D tackle in there as well. I love their edge unit there. I think it's got one star who's about to shine and one guy whose ceiling I just don't know how high it is. I'm really looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah. Huge year for Florida. There's not many more teams in the country I'm just excited to see in general. The hype feels real. And we've said that before about the Gators and it's blown up, but I'm going to say it again. But yeah, PFF's big board for 2026. SAP is 26. And of all the people doing mock drafts for 2026 by now, guess which team has the biggest percentage of being chosen by Tariq Sapp? The Lions.
Mhm.
17%. Yeah, but like I say, it's also a credit to a team as well because they've realised in 2023 lined up in the B gap 15 times, 2024 69 times, 40 more snaps outside the tackle, 30 more snaps over the tackle. They realise get him out in the middle, push him outside because that's where he needs to be. Like I say, 120 more snaps, 120 more snaps, quadrupled his sacks and doubled his hurries just a year. He does that again this year. If he goes out and gets 11, 12 sacks, if he gets to that 20 hurry point, like you say, if he gets a batted pass, gets he's up, yeah, easily top 10, top 15 draft pick next year. Like you say, the sky really is the limit for the kid. He's Warren's son, right?
No,
Or
no.
is he not related to Warren? Sorry.
Warren has a son at Florida Atlantic.
Ah, right. I knew
Not
there was a
here.
Florida kid that was
Yeah, yeah, he's at Florida Atlantic. Warren Sapp's son is.
no, yeah. If Sap goes on like saying improves on all the numbers and even more snap count next year, then yeah, it would not surprise me to see him in blue at all.
Um, I mean, he might go too high depending on where we finish, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it
I,
could
I
be a top
agree.
15 and like you say, it could be out of reach. But yeah, a kind of
Yeah,
kid, like you say, yeah. It could be the face of a franchise this year.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is
The Gators right now, I don't know, it just feels like, yeah, maybe the stars could align this year.
it's 2008 since they last won anything. It's 2020 since they last went to the SEC Championship. They've not been competitive. For me, a lot of players can make themselves household names this year on that Florida team if they do
Yeah.
well. Like that's, I've got a feeling, I've got a vibe, but these guys especially, and I'm really look. I'll tell you now, George Gums, most underrated player of the year at Edge. Watch out for that name as the season goes on. Right, we'll move it into the top two now. And I really struggled here. I know I did say initially one team probably had the best in the country, but there are two teams for me
I'll know
that are
which ones. I know who one of them. I know who one of them has to be.
two are far and away better than anybody else for me. And the more I've looked at this, the more I've hated putting them here. But at number two, I've got Texas at number two. So who do we have at Texas? We've got Trey Moore and we've got Colin Simmons. So Trey Moore, 6'3", 245 pounds. Colin Simmons, the superstar freshman, just true freshman,
Six
destroyed
six. Like?
everything. Sorry.
Is he 6'6"?
6'3" currently, 245. But again, he's a true sophomore this year. He's going to be what, 18? He's got time to grow. Yeah, so for me, what I love about this partnership, you have a superstar true freshman and you've got a very experienced veteran who's had to do it the other way. He's had to work his way up the hard way. He's not been a superstar five-star recruit who got on the field day one. So I can't really say more about Colin Simmons as what's already been said about him. 9 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, an interception, 50 quarterback pressures, 45 tackles. He changed his number this year from 11 to 1 because, quote, he is the one.
Oh,
Like, he,
I see what's coming then.
he did that as a true freshman. He takes what he wants, he does what he wants. I mean, we saw him so much last year. It's just, he's a big play waiting to. I remember his pick. It's like he's everywhere. You would not forgive him for thinking he wasn't an edge rusher because he just runs all over the damn field. But what makes him so good is having Trey Moore with him. He's done this the hard way. Trey Moore started life off at UTSA, had 1 year on the sidelines, 2 years as a starter, racked up 22 sacks, 80 quarterback pressures, 7 batted passes, 3 forced fumbles in 2 years starting there. They tried to pull him, they tried to get him out, get him to go in the portal the year before. He stayed at UTSA an extra year, stayed loyal there. Then he made his dream move to Texas. But last year, his first year in the SEC, again, very productive. 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 36 quarterback pressures. Now, what's great about Trey Moore, we've not said this about a lot of the guys so far, elite bend. He can get low. Like he's 6'3", 245. He's a little smaller. Don't matter. He'll get underneath you. He'll get round to the quarterback easy. He can bend a lot better than most of these guys can. And it just puts such pressure on an offensive line when you've got Simmons wreaking havoc on one side and you've got Moore who you need to double up on the other because you can't leave him one-on-one. But I like the mesh here, right, of youth and experience. That guy who's really gritty, done it the hard way, over 30 sacks in his collegiate career, and you've paired him with potentially one of the best Texas players of all time when all is said and done.
Yeah. I saw this Texas D line firsthand, like say in the playoffs. And ASU in the first half completely struggled with them. They were overwhelmed. They were smothered. Simon, especially, like you say, getting to the quarterback, like you say, they were a nuisance all day. And yeah, you just look at the guys that are a sophomore or younger on that Texas defense, like you say, it's crazy. They have got a plethora of riches. And then yeah, Trey Moore, he's the kind of guy, like say, that he may not get all of as a pro. Like I say, it feels like he's never going to be in them kind of circles. I don't get talked about a lot, but will offer, like I say, kind of guy is a crucial depth piece. Like I say, as a rotational guy at the next level, someone that, like I say, will have a good season. We'll have a good, like say, pre-draft kind of cycle. Like say, we'll be one of those guys that's considered maybe as a gem or a steal. Like say, he's put a lot of time in. He's done a lot of good work over the years. He's worked with some really young players, helped mentor them. And like I say, he's going to be someone that is leaned upon this year. A lot of people are going to look at him as the veteran to say, like, we need to go out on a high, especially after what happened last year. Like you say, we need to go one better this year. Like you say, and the young talent around him, like you say, he's there to elevate it. And the kind of guy that you leave out there on the field, you ask him to do what he does. Like you say, just take some bodies, like you say, eat some blocks, like you say, just make a nuisance for yourself. Like I say, guys, like say Colin, like I say, he's going to eat good this year. Like I say, he'll be the kind of guy that's going to just kind of unleash.
Yeah, yeah, I'm so looking forward to this. I mean, you say that just the stupid amount of talent on the defense. We not even mention Anthony Hill, who
No,
kind of comes up and plays on the edge a bit as well, and is that hybridy guy. He's just stupid.
already a first round player, probably. He's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
in it, is it? He's got at least 2 years.
He's in his junior year now, so he can
Yeah,
declare
so
early if he
play this
wants
year and
to.
then yeah, probably forego it. First round
Colin
pick.
Simmons will declare next year, the year after this. Like he's going to have no reason to stay unless he has a bad year or an injury this year. Like there's just nothing stopping them there. But yeah, I'm with you. Trey Moore is completely underrated as well. I think it's just the size, but he's gone back for another year to try and improve his stock. But that is a fearsome pairing, one of the best. But just beating them out into the number one slot for me, and I'm going to
No
stay.
surprise for me
I'm
here.
going to stay to my convictions. I said this before we took our break before last draft. I'm going to say this again because I've looked at it a bit more. Clemson, the Tigers, for me, have the best edge pairing, and it is close, but them and Texas are so far above everyone else. It's still far and away one of the best pairings there. Two very highly talented true juniors who've both been playing since their true freshman years. TJ Parker, 6'3", 265 pounds, and Will Held, 6'6", 265 pounds. You know, you talk about having your pairing, the ones who are going to bounce off one another, who bring something different to the table. This pairing is crazy. TJ Parker is explosive, he is powerful, he is relentless, he is the next in what is a long lineage of NFL linemen who come from Clemson on that defensive line. He laid waste to everything that touched his path in 2024. 12 sacks, 11 quarterback hits, 6 forced fumbles, which is a school record, and he has always graded 80 plus against the run since he was a true freshman. Clemson are going to make a run at a natty this year, or they should, because they are one of the best teams in college football in terms of talent on that roster. He is going to be able to shine on the biggest stage of all, and this potentially has the smacking of a Heisman run if it wasn't such a quarterback related thing. That's how high he could go there. And the greatest thing he's got in his arsenal, he's got a running mate who they can't afford to not pay a lot of attention to either. Clemson don't use the transfer portal ever. Under Dabo Sweeney, I think they've made 3 transfer portal additions, all on the offense, all minor additions. They have never taken a defensive player out of the portal under Dabo Sweeney. That is before Will Held came along. So at Purdue, He was known by the coaching staff as the Terminator there because he's just got this fastidious obsession with learning the art of the pass rush. We talk about lineages. The pass rush from Purdue, Karlaftis, Scourton, these guys are taught it like it's a basic need in life. And he is known for his rigorous, learning of the game, been the first guy in the room, the first guy watching tape. He is just completely relentless when it comes to that. The fans, and I love this, they coined his pass rushes the highways to hell, which I think is hilarious because of the amount of punishment he doles out when he is rushing the passer. Yeah, you're on the highway to hell. I absolutely love that there, but he can take on the biggest tackles in the run game. He's 6'6", 265 pounds. You can put him up against any offensive tackle you want. Good luck trying to shift him out the run game. The PFF grades and the stats may not back this up, but that Purdue team has been god awful these last few years. And we've seen with the likes of Karlaftis and Scourton, their talent transcends what that team is worth. And now Clemson's elite D-line coaches have got their hands on him. He's barely 20 years old. He's only just turned 20. If they polish his game and what's left of it, like he's got a deadly spin move when it comes to running, like Scourton did, to be fair. Like he loves the chop. He loves the straight bull rush given his size. And he's always been good against the run. They're going to polish off his game and what it's all about. This is going to be one of the Death Valley. That is going to be literal death for quarterbacks going there this year with TJ Parker on one side and Will Held on the other. Like the numbers do not do him justice. They do for TJ Parker. This is a team that can win a natty, and if they're going to win it, like this is the reason why them two. And you're not even talking about Peter Woods, who's on the interior of this line, who is also potentially a top 5 pick in the next draft. You can't double Parker, Woods, and Held. Somebody's going to get a one-on-one look. Somebody's going to kill the quarterback every single play. Like this is, we talk about exciting D-line play this year, right? This is where it's at. You've got two potential superstars, not just one. You've got one who's well on his way and another who has everything in his arsenal to be, and they're going to be playing together this year with the top 5 in the nation D tackle.
Yeah, it's it's a thing dreams are made of, unless you're playing against it. Like I said, Will Held for me, he was one of the best players in the whole portal. So the fact is, like I say, Big Ten football for me is it's the best running conference. It's easily, it's got the best run schemes, the best run coaches, and the best running football. And Will Held was the 4th best player with 36 run stuffs. Like I say, he's a skyscraper. You don't have to look at him at just under 6'7", like I say, 245. The guy is built like an Adonis. Like I say, and that's what they called Karlaftis, like an Adonis. And like I say, it goes back to it's about Purdue. Like I say, they pride themselves, like I say, on being guys, like I say, that are great in the trenches. Don't have to be flashy, like I say, run first. Like I say, Purdue have always had to stop the run first. Like I said, they've been a leaky team. Their defense has struggled, so they've had to get guys in that are solid in the trenches, and then they work on the pass rush skills, and they do mold them. But like I say, when they struggle, they then go on to lose them, and their loss will be Clemson's gain. Like I say, when Will Held goes out and has 10 sack season, like you say, and he's right there as one of the best team players in the country. And I agree with you. If Clemson is ever going to get back to the lofty heights of Trevor Lawrence, it could be this year. I'm a Klubnik guy. Like I said, I think right now, K. Klubnik, he can be the #1 pick next year in the draft. If he takes my deep playoff run, I think he can be it. The defense, like I said, the D-line's loaded. You've still got guys like, say, rotational guys like Green and Cape Park, but you've got 3 guys that you can lean on in Woods, Parker, and Held to do the damage. Like I say, and yeah, they don't use it. They've had this crazy knack of just relying on their homegrown players and the guys that come out of high school, and it served them well for decades. But I think he realised that they were missing something, and he broke a tradition of a lifetime. Like I say, he went out there and got a player that every team in the country probably should have been going for, and probably was. Like I say, but he's realised that yeah, this is a chance to make a name for himself. Like I say, this time of year when Woods and Parker are probably gone, Will be the guy, because it'll only be heading. Like I say, he's only a true sophomore right now, so he could have 2, 3 more years if he wanted them. Like I say, and then it'll be his team and his mantle. So for him, it's a long-term deal. Like, it's a long-term move for him. like I say, potential first round talent. Like I say, we just need to see more of it. So, yeah, I easily think Clemson's got the best D line in the country. I think Clemson right now, it's do or die. Yeah, can't do it now, Dabo. Have they outgrown you? Have you lost your touch? We're going to
Yeah.
find out potentially.
Yeah, you're falling behind in the NIL era. That's the thing. But I mean, look at what they've created without it. I mean, help they brought in because apparently they lost a decommit at the last minute. But it's like, well, you lose one decommit, but you bring in one of the best edge rushers. That feels like an unfair trade. But there you go. But yeah, I'm so looking forward to seeing it. I agree with. I think TJ Parker will declare next year, depending on how Help does. I think he may take a second year at Clemson, be the lead guy, and then he'll declare the year after, and he'll be the next top five guy. I guess it depends on how it plays out. If he outplays Parker this year, who knows? But all I know is it's just they're both true juniors as well. It's not like they're seniors or anything like that. They're both true juniors. They're still young. They're still raw. They can still get better, and they're already at the top of the game. So I am looking forward to seeing that very much. So that for me, that's the list of the top five edge rushing pairings in there. Would you switch any? Would you disagree with my rankings, or do you think we're about okay? Is there
I
anyone
mean,
else you'd have put in there?
I'd move Michigan down.
All right,
Tech,
okay, all right. You can.
I'd put Texas Tech above Michigan. I think Texas Tech are going to absolutely wreck shit this year.
I think Brent's
Might
making
not win
me.
a lot of games. Who knows? It might all blow up in the face,
Yeah,
but they're going to be interesting.
yeah. Brent's making me soft towards Michigan. That's what it is.
Texas Tech had a
So
good defense last year. They probably would have
yeah,
won the Big 12.
yeah. They gave up over 40, but they gave up 50. What was it? 52 to Abilene Christian.
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of shows. William McIver had, or Matt McIver, fucking had the game of his life, and he's now in the FBS. He probably has to thank Texas Tech for that. So yeah, the rankings I have for the top five units for edge rushers this year: Texas Tech at five with David Bailey and Romello Height. Michigan at four with Derek Moore and TJ Guy. Florida with Tyreek Sapp and George Gums. Texas at two with Trey Moore and Colin Simmons, and Clemson at one with TJ Parker and Will Held. And I feel relatively confident about that. But as I say, keep an eye on the Oklahoma State pair, and then you've got some other good pairs knocking round as well. So we will see what goes on with that. Don't think I've missed out anything in the comments so far. Nakura, knee biting with the Motor City Lions, Brent. Hope you're all doing well. Danny's in the building again. If you've got any questions or anything as we're going on, please let us know. We got one more segment to go into before we do any questions at the end, so we'll probably just go straight into that. So we've talked about some of the best edge rushing duos coming into the year, but now we've got to try and take a look at the less obvious. We've got to try and make maybe some hot takes here. So obviously we have expanded playoffs in college football now. It's 12 currently, probably going up to 16. Don't know if it's been fully declared yet, but I think we're on the precipice of it happening. So there are going to be teams getting into the playoffs who haven't really threatened the playoffs before, or in some time, or have fallen powers. So we're trying to identify some of the teams that might work their way in this year who might not be on people's radars to this point. So we're gonna, just shine a light on a couple of these teams that we think are gonna do this. Obviously, as we get into the season and close to the season, we'll do in-depth, on these guys as well. For me, I've picked one from each of the Power Four conferences. How many have you got?
I've got three, but I've got from different conferences. I've got like a Nando's, a mild, a spicy, and then like an extra hot.
All right. This might be where we actually agree for a change. So I've got four. I'll go first. Do you have an SEC team in there?
Yeah.
Is your SEC team one we've just talked about not so long ago?
No.
Oh, okay. Right, that's fine. So I'll start with my SEC team first, who I've got a dark horse to reach the playoffs. I got the Florida Gators. I'm sorry, Ash. I apologize. I don't mean to do this to you as a Florida State fan, but I would like to think I've been very I've been one of the more patient ones when it comes to Florida these last few years. I like Billy Napier. I like the job he did at Louisiana. And like Cristobal at Miami, I think people just needed to wait for the vision to take hand and for them to see what the overall vision is. It's taken its time, it's taken its lumps, and halfway through last year, he looked dead. I think going into that game against Miss State, we thought he was done and dusted. He turned the thing round. and we're finally starting to see this thing paying off. And so now he's got himself a do or die year this year. He's got the opportunity to secure himself for a long time to come. But ultimately, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But I've got a lot of reason for optimism with the Gators this year. 15 returning starters. That is top 20 in the nation in terms of returning production. You've got 8 guys coming back on offense. You've got 7 guys coming back off defense. So that team that finished the last end of the year red hot is primarily coming back, and a lot of its main stars are young guys. So you come to the offense first and foremost. You've got one of the game's rising stars at quarterback in DJ Lagway. He took his lumps last year. He worked in the rotation and had to fight his way past Graham Mertz, but he got in, looked rough. I thought towards the end of the season he was showing tremendous growth in his game, and I think he has the ability to hit a very high level going into this year. Like, he's a 5 star. He's one of the biggest recruits they've had in some time. They're expecting the world of him, and I think he might be able to deliver. So, what is around him to be able to make him do this? 4 of the 5 O-line starters are back. You only lost Brandon Crenshaw Dixon at right tackle, and they've got in-house replacements ready for him, who have played a little bit at the position already. But more importantly, you've got an NFL caliber center there with him in Jake Slaughter, who's probably going to go very high next year. You've got a general for your offensive line, someone who can take the pressure off Lagway and is going to help lead him to this team going forward. So you've got 4 guys protecting him who've been there before. I think he's going to get a lot of time to pass the ball, throw it. They were good in pass protection last year. They're decent in run blocking. And speaking of the run, they've got another sophomore sensation there. Got Jaden Bohr, who had nearly 700 yards last year. He's going to be the lead guy this year. You got Jacoby Jackson backing him up. He was the JUCO star. He came in last year, had 600 yards. You got a 1-2 punch. You got an offensive line. You've got the quarterback. You got a big ass 6'7" tight end in Hayden Hanson that he's going to be able to throw at. The one position they're lacking is receiver. You lost Kamari Dyke and Elijah Badger. So you need someone to develop there. But for the most part, the offense is intact. And then you switch it to the defense. We've just talked about the D line. It's got 2 potential, maybe 3 potential first round picks on that line if you include George Gums with it. They're going to be very strong in the trenches on both sides of the ball, which is what will catapult this team forwards. Caleb Banks is a star at that D tackle position there. The linebackers, they lost their starters. All the guys behind them have been in the rotation. They're grown in-house. They've only bought 6 transfers in this year. Billy Napier has put big emphasis on getting his transfer recruiting classes and putting his own players in there, not mercenaries. The corners and the safeties are good. It lacks a little bit of depth, but overall, that starting 22 for me is really good. And they have a rotten schedule this year. They play LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, Texas A&M. It's a gauntlet, but it's a do or die year. And I don't know about you, Ryan, but I think this is a young youth movement at some of the most critical positions. And most importantly, their trenches are set, which is what you need if you're going to have any chance to survive. You said you're looking forward to seeing them. I think Billy Napier is going to prove everybody wrong this year and finally get there. Do you reckon they will? Potentially?
It's one of those where I don't know. I don't want to set too much expectations for them, but you have to, like say, there's no shying away from it this year. Like say, you get the Gatorade Player of the Year in Lagway, who, like say, they didn't have many plans to play him as much as they did. But like say, then Mertz goes down with was it torn ACL?
Hmm.
Yeah. And then suddenly, like say, he's thrust into limelight. He shows flashes. Like say, he shows potential to be a star. And then you go under center. Like I say, in the backfield, you got Jordan Ball, like say, just as a freshman taking a heavy workload. And then you look all around the field, yeah, and you just see guys that playing for a coach that he's pretty much been shit on by all the media. Fans calling for his head. He's got an athletic director coming out and basically saying we won't fire him, having to publicly defend him, like saying yeah. And then the end of the season, it kept the Wolves at bay and it gave him a chance to go into this year. But like I say now, like there's nowhere to hide.
No.
Everyone thinks the Gators are here. Everyone thinks, like you say, that Lagway could have maybe the impact that one Tim Tebow had, like you say, back in like you say those mid to late early 2010s where Florida was a powerhouse. You had guys like Brandon Spikes. yeah, they were troublemakers, but they had characters on defense. I feel like maybe they have those characters back again now, those difference makers on the defensive line, like it says, yeah, supremely talented. SEC, totally wide open. Like I say, Florida made the playoffs. That is a very successful year, and they should carry Billy Napier out on their arms on a seat.
Yeah.
Like I say, if they get like sneak into 11 or 10, that's a great year. Because you got 2 more years of Lagway after that. And like you
Yeah.
say, you've got even more potential recruits coming in. If they miss the playoffs, I pull the plug now and I give someone a chance to work with all that talent. And that pains me to say it, but yeah, you'd have to go in a different direction then.
Yeah. I feel like the backs up in the wall mentality is going to shine through here. We saw it at Louisiana, so maybe we'll see. So you've got an SEC team as well. Who do you see been dark horse in the SEC then this year?
See, I'm going to say their name and people will think, oh, they're not a dark horse, but LSU. If you go with ESPN and their FPI, Football Power Index, there's 5 more SEC teams that have got a higher score, a higher projected win total, and a higher playoff making the playoff percentage. Like saying they're down at 12th nationally. That feels really low. So the teams above might say you've got Aggies, Vols, the Bulldogs, Longhorns, like say. So you got the
Tennessee.
yeah.
Tennessee and Joey Aguiar for the
Yeah, they're,
first
they're,
time.
they're two. Yeah, they're 2 spots higher in the FPI.
Wow.
And when you consider
Wow.
about this, so when you look about it, so you've got Garrett Nussmeier, like I say, early ESPN kind of favourite to be #1 next year. Come off a 4,000 year with 64% passing, nearly 30 touchdowns. Like I say, the kid's electric. Like I say, the fans love him. Like I say, he carries, he just embodies everything they need right now. Like I say, he's able to make splash plays. Like I say, they've gone it out in the portal, so they've lost guys. Like I say, the portal. Like I say, they lost Will Campbell. They lost guys like Karen Lacey. Like I say, but they went and like I say, LSU did something they don't always do well. They hit the portal hard. Like I said, they got Nick Anderson from Auburn receiver. They got one of my favorite players. They got Barry and Brown from Kentucky, who like I said, is an elite
Oh.
returner and receiver. He's going to have be so fun to watch in his offense. But they also went out bolstered the D line. Patrick Payton from Florida State. Like I said, we know what he can do. We've seen him do it. And a guy from Florida, Jack Pyburn, as a rotational defensive piece. They're going to maybe make him a full-time starter off the edge potentially. So they've gone out there, they've added players, they've added to the trenches. Like I say, Mansour Delone, one of the lesser talked about like shutdown corners in the country. VT in the ACC, like I say, his completion percentage when targeted was like 47%. He's a shutdown. I think he is going to be one of the better players in the country this year, and he's going to get a bit of draft buzz now he's a Tiger. So this team, like I say, talent all over, very much slept on because, like I said, they seem to like say in the public eye have fallen behind guys, and that's not even talking about the core vets they've got. Whit Weeks, star sophomore linebacker, people love him. He's primed to have a big year and make
Mm.
himself.
I love Wet
And
Weeks.
yeah, Harold Perkins. Now, obviously, the freshman year was great. They tweaked where they use him, and it kind of all went wrong. Someone, for the love of God, just put him back to where he is. I know he's had the injury last year. Like I say, I still think going into 2026 draft, he can still have an impact for the Tigers, maybe at the right position. And then the row line, vastly experienced. Lost Will Campbell. There's a lot of guys there that are very experienced and will do a job this year. So yeah, I think the Tigers, like I say, they've got a 30.3 FPI playoff chance. I think they've got a chance to make the playoffs. It's another team though. They don't make the playoffs. Brian Kelly's out. He's
Oh
already
God, yeah.
he's on a hot seat right now, and he's coaching for his job. Like I said, a team this talented, in my opinion, should not be missing the playoffs, even though how hotly contested the SEC is. They should not be
Yeah.
behind the Volunteers in the FPI. That tells me that people think there's something wrong with LSU, or they don't trust Brian Kelly.
I
Probably
think
a
I
bit
was
of
about
both.
to say, yeah, I think it's the head coach people
Yeah.
don't trust
We're
there.
talking
I
playoffs, let's say
mean,
the LSU, then yeah, they're a dark horse, and they have not been in the mix in what feels like in the SEC for forever.
no. I mean, look at what he's done to Harold Perkins. No one talks about Harold Perkins anymore. He's on that roster this year. You
Yeah.
remember 2 years ago? Like he was the oh my God, he's gonna be first overall pick. No one talks about him anymore. He's just forgotten. No one cares. That's what they've done to him. So, yeah, we got Florida and LSU then as the guys maybe coming out of the SEC. Which conference don't you have?
I've got Big 12 and I've got ACC.
Big 12. I feel like we may.
I know who you're going to pick, I think.
Oh, you do. In that case, it's not going to be that one. So, um, right, I'll talk about my Big Ten one 'cause you don't have a Big Ten one, right? Now, this may be cop out. Is it cop out? They're apparently going to get ranked in the top 15 this year, so you would not think dark horse, but they've not earned the right to be told they can finish high up their league so far. I got Illinois. I believe in Illinois this year. I think it's going to be their year. Like Florida, 16 starters returning this year. So one more than Florida. You're only replacing six starters on that team. I mean, again, you're starting with a quarterback. Luke Altmaier, I think is better than people give him credit for. It's all about whether he can deal with the pressure this year. Now they're going to be under serious consideration to potentially win the Big Ten this year, with Ohio State losing all that team, Michigan been indifferent, Penn State been Penn State. There's an opportunity for them to have it. He's got a great ground game with him. All five starters on the offensive line are coming back. Like he's got all the positions. Again, like Florida, it's just the receivers. No Zachary Franklin, no Pat Bryant. Can someone step up in the receiving department? That's the only question really going with them there. But they developed Bryant in-house. They found Franklin out the portal. So you've got to see. But then that defense is really good as well. The defensive line shut down. It's got some really unheralded stars on there. And you look through the roster, the secondary's still good. The linebackers are good. It's just, I think Bielma's done a tremendous job there. It's just they are a dark horse because they've got to be. They don't play Michigan. They play Ohio State at home. You've got to win it. You've got to go out there this year and show that you can win it because they're going to have a first year starter at quarterback. They've lost a ton of that defense. They've lost a lot of their big weapons on offense. For me, it's yeah, I think they are a dark horse because yeah, they've not earned the right to be. They might be top 15, but you've got to get over the finish line, right? Right, you've got to take one of the big guns down before you can be a top team.
Yeah, it's a team that has become, I think, like a darling of the nation. Like I say, I think a lot of players love them, like say, as a neutral. Like I say, they like to see Kurt do well. They've done it, like say, talent that not a lot of people knew before where Signetti was previously. Brought players with him, and a lot of them will have said, "Oh, they can't do it here. They're not Big Ten kind of players." Well, and they said, "Oh, yeah, like hell we aren't." Like I say, we came in and did a job for him, and they had an absolutely great year. Like I say, I had no qualms, like I say, with the committee selection last year. Obviously, yeah, the end of the season was tough. Like I said, the Ohio State game was tough. Like I said, their biggest test came. Like I said, I think it was naive. It was also about being young. The moment was too big for them against the Buckeyes. Like I said, I think if you put them through the season again and they went into that game this year again more prepared, I think they'd be more competitive. Like I said, they'd know what to expect. So I agree, like I say, that it could be a team that, especially this year, and it's kind of like I say, it's maiden swan song kind of year, but has probably learned a lot from last year. Like I say, how to be better in clutch moments. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, it could be a team that not necessarily improves, but just double down. I just want to see them double down and back up what they did last year, because then no one can take it away from them and say they can't use anything against them then.
Yeah, they say Indiana have paved the way for them. They beat Michigan at home last year, like Indiana did as well. Like you go out and do it, go be great. So yeah, that is my Big Ten one. Right, let's go to the Big 12. That's your conference. You're not allowed. You're not allowed. You got in there last year, so I won't be
No,
doing
no,
no Arizona
yeah,
State
that
stuff
won't be
there this
fine.
year. Oh, I'm intrigued now. I wonder. Texas Tech are not allowed either because of all the money they've spent. That's
Nope, don't have
cheating.
them either.
Okay, you go for it.
I think I know who yours is. And like I said, I haven't picked them. Like I say, this is my medium dark horse. I've got TCU.
Ooh.
So TCU, first of all, starting off with last year's passing leader, you got Josh Hoover, a quarterback that, funnily enough, just no one seemed to talk about whatsoever, despite having an absolutely monstrous year. Yes, obviously, it's an area kind of offense. Like I say, Kendall Briles is one of the best and most fun offensive coordinators in the country. Like I say, he's a very much splash play kind of guy. There will be a lot of players that don't work out well and come back to bite him in the ass, but he has constructed offenses that we've seen him at the Horned Frogs for multiple years. Splash players, they can score quickly, they can score heavily, and he's got a quarterback now that is able to command that offense. and should start to gather interest in the draft. Like it only feels natural. Like say if he follows it up again this year, then they're going to have to talk about him. They didn't talk about it this year. And yes, they lost their talisman in Jack Beck. But what did they do? They went out there and got one of the best players in the country, the Idaho Vandals wide receiver, John Dwyer. They had an absolutely stellar last year. Like I say, he had like 1,200 yards. He was one of the biggest playmakers in the country. And a lot of teams in the FBS were eyeing him up. He had a lot of offers, and he decided that he wants to play in purple and chrome. And it's going to be big. He will take to this like a duck to water, like you say, and then you back it up with they went and got Manjack, like you say, from Houston. Like you say, it was a good addition, like you say, wide receiver too. And then you've got Eric McAllister already on the roster, expected to fill in like the Jack Becks kind of slot wide receiver one role. So they've lost players, but they've also added a great core to a passing offense that we just know is gonna it's gonna score the shit out of people. It's gonna be putting 400, 500 passing yards up a game, and it just eventually overwhelms teams.
Yeah.
They flipped that to the other side. They went out there and got some experienced guys like Elijah Jackson, cornerback, got Kylan Jackson, safety, DT, Ansel, Dinman, Bua. So they went out there and they got the trenches. These a lot of these guys are power forward guys, so they've missed lost guys, but they went out there and decided to get some more. Like I said, another reason for me is like I said, I expect to see drop off in the Big 12 this year. I think the Sun Devils have probably set such lofty expectations this year that it's going to be incredibly hard to live up to. Colorado, huge amount of turnover. Like I said, Texas Tech spent millions, could blow up in their face spectacular. Like I say, it's one of those where it kind of feels like yeah, you're only going to get one team out of here, a team that has got consistency on its coaching staff, it's got big play talent. Like I say, they're gone out there and got too crazy. And Sonny Dykes is what you get. Great head coach. Like you say, he's very fondly thought of. Like you say, speaks his mind. He's a character. I've always liked him. He's led great TCU teams. Like I said, this team should be no different. And last year, like I said, he had a good 2-3 kind of running back head monster. He didn't have a, a stellar running back one that just took over. It was very much by committee, and most of it is returning. The only issue that holding back is Brock Meyer, the centre, gone. He started 12 games last year. The only thing that'll hold him back may be tweaking the offensive line. That will be the one that thing. But if you can fix that, like I say, I expect this team to be very competent this year, and I expect it to be as long into the race going into the year. There were 4 or 5 teams, like I say, still in the Big 12 title race last year with 2 games to go. And I'd like to think TCU could be in there, yeah. And it could be, like I say, if they make the big dance, maybe, yeah, you can book their ticket in. It's going to be one of those, be very interesting. Big 12 for me is by far the most interesting conference, Power 4 this year.
Again, I'm pretty sure we said that last year as
Yeah.
well, but I agree with
It's
you.
wide
Like,
open. Because if you
who
look at the football power index, like I say,
it's
top
close.
20, yeah. Well, let's look this way. Arizona State aren't even in the top 20.
Wait, and they're
They're-
returning what, 21 starters?
yeah, they're only 24th. Kansas State are the only Big 12 and they're 20. So everyone's sleeping on the Big 12 again.
You're returning literally 21
Yeah,
starters, Ian, or is it
Xavier
20?
Halford's coming back, Jordan Tyson, and you've got Sam Levitt, and we replaced our starting running back. Or
Bloody
apparently,
hell.
that's
Good
not good enough for
Lord.
top 20 in the nation.
Now, I like the shout for TCU though. Hoover's a Heisman candidate,
Yeah.
potentially. Like he can throw at a Heisman level, so
Even if he only goes 8-4, like I say, obviously they won't give him the Heisman.
yeah.
He'll
Yeah.
put Heisman numbers up again potentially and probably still get overlooked.
Okay, who have I got in the Big 12 then?
You've got Baylor, I think.
Knows me too well. I need to shut up about my love sometimes.
I
Yes,
did
I
think
do
about them,
have
like I said, but
Baylor.
yeah, I like Baylor because I like Dave Araya.
This is why I like the Big 12 so much, because we're talking about teams like TCU and Baylor who were not even factors last year. I mean, to be honest, Baylor were, didn't they? They beat like 3 of the 4 teams going for the. They were
They ended
your
that season.
allies last year.
They ended the
They
season hot, did Baylor.
they were your best friend last year. They're pretty sure they beat Colorado. Pretty sure they beat Kansas State, if I remember rightly. They were your best friends. But yeah, the Baylor Bears for me, this is again like at Florida. They got a head coach who's got to put up or shut up. Dave Aranda was also close to getting fired. He might have been even closer than Billy Napier was to getting fired at some point. Something has clicked with this Baylor Bears team, and the offense was where it starts. They averaged 34 points a year, 34 points a game, 440 yards per game. Um, it's a great offense which can score a lot of points, and it's again so much intact. So Sawyer Robertson at quarterback, I think, is completely underrated. He's a pocket passer, but 6'4", 220. The wonderful frame you want. He can fight off tackles if he needs to. He's good in the pocket, big arm downfield. He's back. 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns last year for him. But then you've got the running back room who you've got Bryson Washington is a star. You've got Dawson Pendergrass, who is a running back two, who can be a running back one if Bryson Washington goes down. Four starters on the offensive line back again this year. You got one of the best returners in the nation on that team. I think it's Josh Cameron, if I remember rightly. He's averaging like 22, 23 yards returner, 52 catches as a receiver. He's their main threat. But then, like, you've gone to the portal. You've got Kobe Prentice from Bama, who I like. You got Cole Wilson from Texas State, who's been an absolute monster for JG Kinney the last 2 years. They're like, he's the home run hitter they've bought in. You've got an all Big 12 tight end there, Michael Trigg. Like, you are loaded with weapons on that team. It all depends on how your defense does. And it's hard because the Big 12 is laced with high powered attacks. Like Arizona State, Colorado, all these guys. Defense is tough there, but they're bringing back a lot of players again. I think they're bringing back eight of their starters. Um, the defensive line's going to be better this year, I reckon, for them. You've got quite a few third, fourth, fifth year guys in there. Um, Transfer portals bought in the linebackers. You bought in Fobbs White from Tulane. He's been a tackling monster for them the last 2 years. Travion Barnes was a star at Florida International, one of the biggest players they lost this year. So they've reloaded that core up. They've got an all Big 12 safety, Devin Bobby. You've got a good pair of corners there. Like, he's another. It's taken a long time for that image to come to fruition, but you saw last year they were beating the top teams in the division, and the defense was slowly getting better. They got in some big shootouts as well, but honestly, it's it's hard to be a defense in the Big 12, right? Like, it's just so many teams will put 30 on you. It's not because you're bad. It's just because the level of offense is that good. But Baylor showed they can contend this year, and if everyone's taking wins off one another, it's easy to slip in the playoffs as a conference winner.
Yeah, like you say, I like Cy Robertson. I think, like you say, come 2027, like you say, maybe he has a good year this year. Maybe I'll make a decision then. But yeah, I think he's a sleeper. Like you say, kind of guy like Josh Hoover, like you say, that will go under the radar, could put up some big numbers, will light up a lot of defenses. But yeah, you're right. It's very offensively minded, the Big 12. It's usually, oh, I'll go get my dad because he's bigger than yours. That kind of thing. Like you said, their offense,
Yeah.
can we outscore each other? Who can deliver the last blow? Who can have the ball last? Who's the last one in the end zone? And it's great to watch. It makes it very hard to win games, and it costs a lot of teams, coaches their jobs. Like I say, it's very hard. It's a complementary football is the best football to play. And some teams just, yeah, they get the balance all wrong. And as a neutral, it makes games absolutely brilliant to watch in the Big 12. Like I say,
Yeah.
it makes locking up a championship spot like I saw last year, it's a minefield. Like I say, and yeah, if you think about, like I say, K-State, ASU, TCU, Baylor, maybe Colorado, it's wide open.
BYU,
BYU,
Houston. The amount of money
Houston,
Houston have
yeah.
put in that team
BYU,
this
depending on what
year.
happens with Retzlaff, like I say,
And you've got all
it's
the good
like
teams at the bottom.
you got
Utah,
at least six,
Oklahoma
yeah, you got
State.
six, seven teams. You got two spots.
Yeah. You've got all the the bad teams last year are the best ones in the division in terms of resources. So,
If
you
Bailey
know,
start the year better than they started last year, like I say, then yeah, they're probably going to make a strong run.
yeah,
It's all going to be how
yeah.
they start this year.
I mean, Utah are sporting the best part of offensive tackles in college football this year. Like, they've got the two best tackles. This is stacked. Big 12 is going to be so much fun this year, and like, good luck predicting the championship game for that because you're just not going to be able to. And then we'll finish all this off. The last one we've got a dark horse each from the ACC. We've not agreed on a single thing yet, which again I love because we're not picking the same things. Did you pick this team because of a certain quarterback that went there?
Probably.
Oh, we may have an agreement here. Go on. Who did you pick?
I got Duke.
Oh, we've agreed. How rare. This is big, folks. We never agree on these types of things. I'm shocked. Darian Mensah, right?
For me, this is the hot take, like you say, when you think about the landscape of the ACC, like, and you're going to have to overcome Miami, SMU, and Clemson sneak in. But like I say, yeah, Malik Murphy last year, after what I thought he had a fantastic year. I was very surprised to see him leave because I thought
Mm.
he's found a home. He can create some serious drag stock for himself. But when Darian Mensah told everyone he's leaving Tulane, he was pretty much QB one or two on like every portal list. True sophomore, 65%, 2,723 yards, 22 interceptions, 22 touchdowns, just six interceptions. Like I say, it was first year John Summerall. Like I say, it led him to great 9 win year back in the big dance. Like you say, he commanded the offense. Like you say, 60 carries as well. Like you say, he composed himself. He is a proper elite weapon. Like you say, under center. And it's an incredible pickup. I don't think it's come cheap. The NIL valuation is high.
8 million. They're
Yeah.
paying him 8 million now. I've got to
A
assume
lot
that's
thing that's
over
I think it's got
three.
to be over a couple of years.
That's got to be at least over 3 years, because that's just shy of 3 million. I can't imagine you're paying him more than 3 million a year.
But if you think he's worth that much, like I said, then you're
That
talking. You think this kid could win the Heisman if
you
you're
think
paying
you can
that.
win the ACC if you're paying a quarterback that much?
Yeah. Like I said, not often like I said, but then like I said, great defensive talent. One of the best safeties, Terry Moore. He's one of the highest graded PFF rate safeties in the ACC.
Manny Diaz defense. Manny
Chandler
Diaz
Rivers, like I
is
said, great guys. And like I said, pass rush. They've got pass rush. Their defensive line's very good. Their two leading sack artists last year, Williams and Antony Jr., who had 13 sacks between them, have come back. Like I say,
yep.
so they're going to get after the quarterback this year. Like I say, they picked up Caleb Williams, the Sam Houston safety, special teamer, great safety that will contribute straight away. And I've never been a Manny Diaz believer. Like I say, I've always kind of lost faith in him because, like I say, he's always kind of fizzled out or it's not worked out here. But like I say, great first year, 9-4, 5-1 at home. He made their home a fortress for the most part, and they were very competitive in a lot of their losses as well. Like I say, they're a well-driven school, they're well disciplined, and to me, I just feel like Miami have lost a lot, and I ain't a Carson Beck guy. If you're talking about a team that could fall from grace very quickly and go from like hero to zero, I'm sorry, Hurricanes. I think it could be you. And I think Duke could very well prey on that. And then SMU, I can't see them following up what they did last year again. I know they've still got the talent, I
It's
believe the coaches, but it's an incredible ask.
it's a we know your game now, right?
Yeah.
They're not the shock surprise factor anymore. People know them
It's a
and they're
game
ready
plan that
for
now
them.
I'm going to prepare for.
Yeah.
Like you say,
Yeah.
and it's going to be, yeah. And like I say, yeah, obviously Clemson are the big issue. But if
Yeah.
Clemson are Clemson and we know Clemson, is Clemson can lose games they have no right losing. Like I say, so if these two have got good records, Duke and Clemson, like I say, when they meet, could be fireworks, Klubnik and Darian Mensah. Like I said, they could just go toe for toe. Two defensive lines as well that could tee off on each other. It could come down to whoever holds the ball after a mistake. And the winner of a Duke Clemson kind of game could be going to the title game. Like I
And
said,
what Duke do is take the ball away, right? Like that's such an experienced secondary they've got there. I mean, you mentioned the safeties they've got. Like Chandler Rivers has played 39 games there. He's only a junior. Like he's played 3 full seasons back to back to back. That is a very experienced secondary that takes the ball away.
yeah, it'd be a huge shock if Duke somehow won the ACC. But like I said, honestly, it'd be fantastic. I'd love
It
it for him.
They'd need to get to the championship game and put in a good performance there and hope that the SEC mess the bed again.
Yeah.
Probably if
But
you want to
ultimately,
get
like I
him,
said, I
but
think I think SMU natural aggression. I think Miami could fall off a cliff. I think Beck. I didn't like the fit for Beck there. Don't know why he's gone there.
mm, and it's they're 10th. I think their API, they're 10th in the conference. Like people are not expect, but it's Duke, right? Everyone thinks it's Duke. They're gonna fall off
People said this a year
eventually.
ago,
But yeah,
and then they had a
exactly.
great year.
They're gonna fall off, but they've just spent 8 million on a quarterback, and they've got a very experienced team here, a head coach who seems to be doing the job right. I mean, look at the schedule. Their ACC schedule. They play Wake Forest at home, Georgia Tech at home, NC State at home, Virginia at home. The away slate is UNC, Syracuse, Cal, and Clemson. Like Cal have lost Mendoza and a lot of that team last year. UNC, who knows what they're going to be. Syracuse have lost all their big playmakers from last year, although it will be tough. And then you got Clemson. You've got to go to Death Valley in the season. That's probably one you lose. But if you can go and win at Q's, I like you could see a position there where they could end up in the championship game.
Yeah, like I say, the schedule to me is very favourable.
Mm,
Mensa lives up to the monumental hype that he's got. He could completely bottom out and just see dollar signs, but no, I look at a guy that thinks he can win the Heisman.
mm.
Yeah, I think he's got ego. He's got a chip on his shoulder. I
And
kind of
he
like that.
and instead of getting 3 million a year in NAL or less, he could probably get 4 million from a team next year if he's great, right? One of the big powers, LSU, when Nussmeier's gone, do they want Darian Mensah? Because what, Tulane's just down the road from LSU, right? It's
Yes.
quite close. Mensah
I've
might
got
end
a
up at
feeling
LSU
that
last year if he balls
Duke's
out.
just a stepping stone for
Yeah,
Mensa. But if he
yeah.
comes in and does the business, I
If you
don't
tell me,
be
yeah,
bothered.
if you tell me he was LSU starting quarterback next year, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good year. So I agree. I think there is everything to look forward to about Duke there. So, those are your dark horses there. Duke, we've both agreed on. We've got LSU and we've got Florida in the SEC. I've got Illinois in the Big Ten, and you got Baylor and TCU in the Big 12. But obviously, a lot of time to go, a lot of team evaluations to be done, a lot of things can change. But yeah, that is that. So that is our three sections up for the day. Thank you for everyone who's bared with us. And it's been a while, but we got a lot of stuff to go through over the summer. So yeah, we will be packed full of content. There is a lot of information to get out there. Hopefully you all have found it useful. Hopefully you know a few more dark horses now, a few coaches and teams to watch this year, some
Struggle to
dark
pick a
horses to
Big
keep
Ten
an eye
though.
on.
I just can't see anyone cracking the Big Ten hierarchy.
I still so do you know what I saw the other day? I saw a power index which had Penn State number one. I think that should be illegal until they beat one of the big two. I don't think you should be able to do that, but people are back in Penn State this year again. Singleton and Katron Allen, Aller in year three. I don't see it. I don't think Indiana repeat again. I think Indiana will have I think they'll be a good team now. I don't think they'll win 9 or 10 games again like they did last year. But I say, yeah, you're right. It's a bit of a
Team that intrigues
Is
me
one of
right
the
now.
Is one of the former Pac teams going to step up? Are USC going to step up? I think USC would be the one where people will be like, but because everything I hear, everyone's saying this is the best team he's had, which you seem to hear year on year. But what is it? Is it still Miller Moss there now?
No, he went to Louisville.
Oh, he is. Who's quarterback there now? Is it? Are they using? Oh God, are they using the old UNLV guy,
Jordan
Maeva, Jordan
Maeva. I
Maeva?
think he's the pencil in starting.
It's weird because I like him, but I don't like USC. I don't like Lincoln Riley. I agree. I don't think the Big Ten's lopsided
Yeah,
completely. So there is a lot of chatter again about Iowa this year. Now, one of
same
your
there.
favorite friends is at
Mark
Iowa.
Gradowski's there. He's injured right now. He's had a minor procedure. I know he's going to miss, I think, nearly all of spring. But it's his job.
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure he'll be ready for the season.
But people are backing Iowa this year, so I don't know. That feels like a Penn State type thing where I just don't trust them.
Yeah. Defense will be its defense. You've still got guys like Xavier Nwonka. You've still got stars like that.
Mm,
You've still got a lot of talent in
yeah,
the offense.
yeah.
Like
And
you
for the
don't
rep,
understand yeah. You got receivers like Van Reese, and you still got some tight ends and that. Like I say, you still got a run game. Like I say, they have good depth running back, but yeah, it's just going to be me passing offense.
see, yeah, yeah, I agree. And for those who are saying, I believe Iowa State are good. I don't think they're a dark horse.
No, I
So
don't. I
the
think
the
I
Becticles are
can't
going to
put
be
them
up
as a
there this
dark
year.
horse. Let's say they made a title.
Yeah, Rocco Becht is a dark horse for the Heisman as well. If he can find some more receivers. Like that's the only worry I've got with him. A lot of the Big 12 teams have been rinsed of receivers this year. Them more than anybody. So yeah. If anyone's got any other questions or anything they want to ask us before we get out of here, let me know. Just waiting for Matt to come in the building and
I
get
think we
us
have to come up with a
start
list
off
of
the.
like way too early Heisman candidates.
Yeah, we will do. Oh yeah, we will do that at some point. We've got some fun challenges that we're going to do this year. We're going to pick. So one thing we are going to do, we got a Wheel of Fortune type thing. We're going to do. Every FBS team on a wheel board. We're going to roll it, and whichever team it lands on, we're going to get one each. we're going to have to be not a fan of that team, but we've got to keep you updated on how that
I
team's
think you
doing
need to
throughout the
take off
year.
NC State and Arizona State, though.
You what?
I
Oh yeah,
think,
if it lands
yeah,
on one of those, then oh yeah, we'll
respin.
no bias, respin, yeah, no bias. It'll be recorded, we'll respin it. And there's a lot of good things. So Matt is here. Let me just have a quick check through. Brent goes, locked on Wolverines. Slappy says they have a top five defense. Owen Cole Sullivan is firmly entrenched as linebacker three, be starting by week 5, 6 bucket. I mean, I think they've just moved one of their starting linebackers out to edge as well, so he might get in there early. They've got Rod Moore back this year. Is it Rod Moore, the safety? I
Yeah.
think they've got him back this year. Rayshon Benny's great. Like, there's a lot of potential there. If you were to tell me at the end of the year it was top five, I could buy stock on that. If you're going to tell me going into the season it's top five, I'm not buying stock on that. I don't think it's there yet. So you just lost too many great players from last year, but we'll see. But you know, Wolverines might have a good year. Mile Marker goes, looking forward to listening to him full. New season, new summer. Yeah, appreciate you, Mile Marker. Did have a shout out earlier. We will do your stuff from Minnesota and
Actually,
North
no, take it
Dakota
back.
State. What?
Very, very outside liar. Michigan State. I
Ooh,
mean,
ending with a hot take.
there's a lot of talent there, a lot of young
It's
talent.
all about it's all about Aiden Childs.
Yeah.
Can he cut out the turnovers? Way too many It felt like there was way too many fumbles last year. I've not checked his
For a team
numbers.
of individuals, can they become a unit on the coaching?
Yeah, I can buy that.
They could cause some upsets, I think.
You know what? I will buy stock in that. I will buy stock in that they might be able to do that. Only 6 fumbles last year for him. I thought there was more. Maybe his passing. What was his passing like? 13 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
Yeah,
That's got to
lots of
come down.
turnover.
There are too many. 17 turnovers in a year is too many, but I can buy stock in that. Right. Well, thank you to everyone who's joined, to Brent, to Malbarker, to everyone who's been in the building. Kneecap biting Nakura. I say, I hope you've enjoyed it all. As always, as we say, any questions, any scouting you want us to do, any teams you want us to look at, we will do that for you. Just let us know. We're at your command. We've got a lot of summer to go, so we've got a lot of spare time to fill. In terms of next shows, the main podcast is back on Monday, talking all things Detroit Lions, second week of OTAs, and then me and Ryan will be back in a week with another episode of the College Football Podcast. We will get something fun planned for you there. So yeah, just remains for me to thank Ryan. Glad to be back. Hopefully, we yeah, don't like spending too long not talking about college ball. It's great to do it again. Enjoyed it. We'll see you again next week. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. And Brent finishes with TJ Metcalf is the next Brian Branch. We will see. Au revoir.
Recording stopped.